FOREPLAY, presented by Barstool Sports. We are live from the Ryder Cup. We're at Whistling Straits. We're on the first tee in the stands. I will say that if you're watching on YouTube, the view that you currently see is worse than our view because we're just looking at kind of the ocean.
Or now we're going to actually – you just called it the ocean? It's a fucking lake, loser.
Yeah, we're going to –
Frankie also pointed when we were at Monterey to the Pacific Ocean and said, what body of water is that?
No, I was asking for the specific –
Yeah, Pacific Ocean.
I was asking for the specific name of what body of water is there by Pebble Beach. You know, there's like that. I mean, yeah, but like there's that little area by 6 and 7.
You were looking for like
it's
Stillwater Cove.
You know what I mean? There's Stillwater Cove.
Yeah. Don't look to me for defense here. This doesn't seem like my fight to get into.
We have a guest on the show.
We're joined by Dethier, who, if you were to look at his name phonetically, you'd be unlikely to get there.
I would say it's like Dethier.
Credit to you, Riggs, for getting that right, actually. First try there.
The only reason I got that right is because you texted it to me one time, I think.
Oh.
I think I was just like, what's going on with your last name?
Yeah,
it
looks like Dethier. It's a problem.
Right,
I mean, it's not going away, this issue, and yeah, I mean, I've thought about should I just change it so that it's said how it looks, because there's no possible way you'd get it correct first try.
I would say that it is pound for pound the most difficult name to pronounce I've ever seen. Because if someone has like 37 letters, it's hard, obviously, but yours is like short and impossible.
Once you hear it, though, I mean, it's like this is how I describe it. It's just like what you're sitting in. It's the chair, and that's it. Once you know,
really good.
Once you know, then you kind of know. It's just if you don't know, you would have no chance.
It's like when Guy Fieri, who then corrected Dave to say Guy Fieri, I guess that's the correct way to say it. He goes, you have a guy named Eddie and you owe him a fee. Fieri. Yeah.
Oh,
Fieri.
Wow.
That really helps.
That's nice.
The chair helps too.
The chair.
Spell it.
Dethier.
Yeah, Dethier. That's how I would almost say it.
Yeah. So you just live your whole life just correcting people.
Yeah, or I just kind of let it go. But,
yeah.
I really appreciate you guys getting it right. You're a bunch of professionals. I don't care what people say about you.
Has he ever been on the podcast ever?
Never.
No, never.
Oh, wow.
Never invited even.
We've had many run-ins with Dylan, basically at every single tournament or championship we come to.
Yeah. We've spent some time walking inside the ropes. Like you guys, I like to get out and explore the space a little bit, walk the property, watch some golf, spend as little time in the media center as possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So
I
we
feel
see
like
you out there.
You're a friendly face
For sure.
in like the media like gaggle of people. You're a friendly face, I think.
Talk about your gig a little bit.
My gig, yeah. So I'm a senior writer. Senior makes me feel old, but for Golf Magazine and golf.com. So yeah, I mean that kind of means like a little bit of everything, some podcasting, some video stuff, but yeah, mostly writing.
I would say you do what like my my like aunt thinks I do when I say like I work in like media, I do golf. You kind of do, I think, closer to what they think.
I don't think that's the compliment you thought it was.
I don't
really,
yeah.
Or the description that you thought.
I'm
like
not
he's more of like
sure
an
how to
actual
take
journalist
that.
and reporter.
Yeah. I would like to think
Right?
of myself. I think I tell people I'm a journalist and reporter. Yeah. Which maybe you don't.
No. But if I'm trying to get out of the conversation, then without really explaining it, yes.
Because that's a conversation. Oh, I'm a journalist. Everyone's like, all right, conversation over.
Oh,
Right now, what I'm saying right now.
Those are your strong suits. Like you do
Right.
find like interesting, good stories, and you write it in like a compelling way that people can actually like process it. If we start to do that, we look like fucking idiots because we don't know how to write, we don't know how to speak. But
yeah,
like our form of being able to talk about the game of golf is us playing it and us being here and like interacting with fans. Like you get a different viewpoint of it, which I think everyone needs. That's how people just process golf information. They get you, they get us. It's perfect symmetry.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, and what I try to do basically is bring a little bit of a modern touch to this world of golf journalism, which obviously is like a field dominated by people that are older than we are and have maybe been doing this for a while.
Got to put them in a home.
So to try to
Those people you're describing, they hate us, as I'm sure
you
you're
got to put them in a home.
Put them in a home.
I've noticed you're starting to put out a lot more videos, like where you walk with the player and like you interview them with more like
It's a
interesting
lot
questions
easier. I mean,
and
you
stuff.
guys know this, but it's a lot easier some weeks than other weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, the PGA Tour, no chance because rights are just a lockdown. But some weeks like this, I don't know. People love to see a little video. They love to see people in action, I guess, being normal, like not turning on camera face or camera voice or whatever, media voice. but just like in action. So yeah, I've been trying to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I would say like we're pretty extreme one way, right? Where we're in no way journalists. Nothing we do is anywhere close to journalism, and we're kind of like a little like now we're like YouTube-y, podcasty, and then there's like the Bob Herricks who like they've been writing about golf for a long time, and we get along well with Bob now. I think you're kind of like in between that. You sort of blend the two.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, I think there's still a need for it, right?
It's like Banks is a writer.
Yeah,
Banks is a golf journalist at this point. He likes to report on the golf stuff.
I would
know what
say
I mean?
he's a golf blogger.
Golf blogger.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's not here actually getting the
reporting.
stuff.
Like Dylan, like you comb through and you go into like press conferences and you come out with like information.
I read
that
a
then
lot
you-
of transcripts.
Right,
I gotta
right.
say. It's like it's become like compulsive for me. Like I'm like, oh man.
But you enjoy that.
Monday morning, kind of comb through the Fortinet, final round transcript, see what Max Homa said.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's like I think figuring out how these guys think or how they deal with success or how they deal with fame. Like there's little stuff that I think is really interesting. And I don't know, I think if there's something I do in my writing, it's probably zoom in on little stuff and then try to apply that to, I guess, more general concepts. So if you learn something little about Patrick Cantlay, maybe that explains who he is a little bit more.
Right. Definitely. Which we need, and it helps him. It helps the game. Any fan, right? Like you clearly play golf at a very high level, which we'll get into a little bit. But like taking those tidbits, information, quotes, reporting, and being able to then repackage it into something that's interesting, right, is what makes it like what makes you incredibly valuable versus just like a newswire. Like if you're just reading a newswire, like we don't want to read those fucking transcripts. We want you to read through them and then be like, this is the interesting stuff, put context into it, and then it's readable. So I think like what's, as much as we may shit occasionally on like traditional journalists and the old people that need to be put in a home, that writing and stuff, there's always going to be a need for that. And I do think it's cool that
My tires are like inflated right now. No wonder people like coming on your guys' podcast.
Well, half the things that we say on this
do.
podcast probably come from stuff that you've reported on. You know what I mean?
Sometimes we just read your tweets.
I go straight to your Twitter and just plagiarize half of it just on this podcast. Like anything that comes,
Not a journalist.
anything that comes straight from, like anything that sounds like I know what I'm talking about comes from Dylan's Twitter. Basically, you know what I mean? Because it's like the stuff that's happening on the PGA Tour. Like I would never know it if I didn't follow you.
Yeah. I remember I think the first time I met you, Frankie, was we were walking at Bethpage, and now I'm remembering because we were following Francesco Molinari.
Oh, here we go.
And there were so many people in the crowd screaming like Frankie Butterknives, and Francesco Molinari was so confused. He kept looking around, kind of like waving to people. And I was like, damn, these guys are big time. Like there is
That was so funny.
like, I mean, and look, to some extent, it's like a time and place, right? Because, all right, I always think about PGA Tour golfers. They aren't really famous. They're not real life famous, but in the world that they exist, they're extremely famous.
Yeah.
Like, Justin Thomas, if he walks into a restaurant in, Chicago this week, probably not really going to get recognized. But out here, every single person knows who he is. Yeah. You guys probably run into some of the same stuff.
Totally, yeah. This is like our theater right now. Like when we walk through this place, people go, it's insane. Especially
Riggs was literally signing autographs on the 18th fairway yesterday.
Yeah,
Which, by the way, what I'll say is it's weird because like Riggs isn't how I sign my name.
No.
So you have to create an alternate like signature.
Yeah,
for
I
that.
saw you just wrote Riggs.
I just write Riggs. Like,
It's not a signature. That's
How
just,
else are you gonna do it? It's very bizarre. But you're right, in this world, like, because this is what we do. We do golf. But you're right. Like if we.
Oh my God! I just touched your hand, dude. Sorry. I
gotta
have
run that-
two bad elbows, so I don't
back
know.
in slow mo.
I don't
What's
know.
going on between the two of you back
I
there?
just
Okay.
grabbed
The
his
back
hand.
row boys
I've
are
got two bad elbows, so
vibing.
it's like I don't have the
We
range
will
of
have
motion.
that footage.
Boys
though.
are vibing. They're
I'll
getting
say
together.
though, like he has two bad elbows and like a bad knee and like
Yeah.
turf toe.
And I've
so-
got horrible heartburn right now.
How has it been walking around then for you? Because this
a
is
good
one of the
question.
tougher walks
It's been
that
brutal.
I've been to.
There are even going up to the range. There's like these fucking inclines and declines, and it's bad. But yeah, my knee's in shambles, and but just to wrap that up, it is crazy that like when you go, like you're saying, to a place where you know there's going to be people who recognize you, like it's magnified by a million. And I can only imagine what it's like for the golfers, where like a guy like Scotty Scheffler, And I mean, not to shit on Scotty Scheffler, he's our guy, but it's like if that guy walks into a pizza place or anywhere in New York, no one knows who the hell he is. He comes out here, people are screaming his name. There was like a lady like shrieking when he walked into the driving range.
Dude, today, like Cole Swindell's here. Okay, he's got millions of followers. He posts every day. He's on tour, and he posts these videos of him up on stage, surrounded by people trying to grab at him. Dude, he walked around with me for like 10 or 15 minutes today. Not one person said a word to him.
That's
but like
amazing.
Tomorrow night, he'll be in Cincinnati in front of 20,000 people
It's
You know exactly
who
who. Yeah.
literally have been listening to his album for
Right.
2 weeks straight, geared up for this concert, and like they're gonna take a picture from 200 yards away with him in the background and be like, "I got a picture of Cole Swindell."
Right.
So it is very time and place. I'm dropping stuff left and right. We got to do Owens, then we're gonna get into some Ryder Cup stuff. Speaking of Owens, we got an event tomorrow. So when people are listening to this, we're gonna be at the Baths, par 3 course at Black Wolf Run, par 3 course.
Every time I bring it up to somebody out here, they're like, "That place is great."
It's
And
cool.
And unfortunately, they couldn't get it registered because it sold out in 8 minutes. But we're excited to go there, and Owens is representing the whole thing.
Owens also sponsored our house, so people are gonna be able to see a video, little cribs, throughout 3 o'clock Eastern. Jake Bass is screaming from the seats, literally.
3 o'clock Eastern.
3 o'clock Eastern, you have a little video of the house that we're posting up. It's very cool. So big thanks to Owens. It's stocked with Owens mixers. So once we get a little closer to the weekend, we're gonna have a couple cocktails, a little Transfusion Thursday. But go to owensmixers.com. They got a store locator there where you can figure out, retail closest spot. Go to Amazon, you get it next day. And then what's the Puff one, Bass? Go Puff. If you haven't heard of Go Puff, you can get it same day delivery. So they got the Transfusion mix, they got the mint cucumber line. You know the whole spiel about Owens. You just pour it in with your favorite liquor. You got an awesome cocktail. It's great. All right, Dylan. One of the big reasons we wanted to have you on is not just to gas you up and then have you in return gas us
That's
up.
a good
and
start,
it's
though. Yeah.
Just a gas up fest. But, we're out here. We've been watching golf for a few days. You make, like, actual astute observations, right? Like, we just talk about, like, Frankie's knee hurts and, like, whatever.
Where are we going to
And
dinner?
we're like, how we had to, like, the trials and tribulations of having to, like, sign our middle names on shit and, like, dumb stuff. You actually make, like, real observations about the golf. So what has been, like, a couple days here, what was one of your takeaways going into the golf?
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pressure to put on me.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway from today was, like, this seems exhausting for the players. This whole lead up, like, they got here on Monday. They were here last week, too, for a couple days. But it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's more lead up than they usually have. And normally in practice rounds, like, they can kind of shut it down, stick to themselves, be boring. They're not, like, super social creatures. But this week, they're just talking to each other nonstop. There's too many assistant captains nonstop. It's like you're just on. And I don't know. It just made me think, like, by the time they get to the actual golf, like, they must be wiped. And so guys that are better at managing that probably going to have better Ryder Cups. I don't know how we turn that into, like, picking anyone.
Yeah.
But that
It's
was my
interesting.
thought from today.
The driving range has been strange, though, and we noticed that, too, where at a normal tour event, there's usually a million people walking around, and everybody's talking, and everybody kind of gets lost in everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every time we're out there, like, we were just out there, like, 30 minutes ago, and it was Bryson and Brooks, and everybody was looking at them.
Yeah.
And everyone was focused on them, and they know that everyone's focused at them. Some people are yelling at them. So you're right. They don't have that ability to sort of go off into the background and just prepare how they normally would. Everyone is watching them all the time, so it has to be exhausting.
So yeah, I think like Brooks had this explosive interview in Golf Digest last week or whatever, where people are like, "Oh, he doesn't care about the Ryder Cup," because he kind of said how he was describing how weird a week it is, and that's what I keep coming back to is like, you get out here, Fred Couples and Davis Love are watching Jordan Spieth hit wedges on the range, and it's, it'd be like NBA guys going to an All-Star game and suddenly another coach is like working on their jumper with them. It's got to be a little bit strange. It's cool. I mean, like, those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's got to be a little bit funky. Yeah.
Do you think the range stuff, because I've noticed there's a lot of chatter, and one of Riggs's big points, and one of the reasons he's rooting for Europe is because they're all boys. They like to play patty cake. They like to have, like, shake hands and dance on the driving range. You saw the video of John Rahm putting on the cheese head and going crazy. It's like, do you think any of this is being juiced up because, like, they know everyone wants to see them all talk and have fun? Like, half this stuff is not even, like, natural.
Right.
I'm noticing it. Like, on the driving range, like, they're all fucking laughing out loud. Like no one has real conversations like that.
Yeah.
Like
They can
Brooks
pull
was
it
like
off
said
better,
something. Daniel
though, right?
Berger was like, "Oh, you got a wedge?" And they're like, "Yeah." And
It's like that
and,
fake in studio
and
laughter
one guy
that the
threw
football
a ball
guys
at
do.
Scotty Scheffler, and he's like, "Whoa!" And like he like dodged the ball.
Yeah,
It
but
was like,
listening
what
to
is
who
happening
you're
right now?
describing, it's like the Europeans pull that stuff off like naturally. Like
I know,
Ian
but even
Poulter
them,
is
like,
a maniac.
I know, even them though, like when they did the photo, like everyone knows that they're tight, so they're knocking each other over.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like at some point, I get it. Everyone's kind of friendly. You know what I mean?
I
It just
think
seems
it
like it's
is
being
kind of
played up.
performative, but I think they lean into it. But I do think also they come in like feeling loose, and that's like their main goal is to feel loose and chop it up. They don't really feel the pressure. Even Ian Poulter today was talking about how, basically he thinks that the course is set up for the Americans. He thinks everything indicates that Team USA should win. So he's just like jacking up that underdog
Yep.
mentality, leaning into it, and then I think that ultimately he thinks is going to be helpful.
That's great. I love doing that.
Yeah.
Talk about how there's no chance you can win.
Yeah. There's no. How
Yeah.
could we possibly win? They've got short rough. They,
Yep.
They've got no fans here. Yeah.
It is interesting to hear about, or to be here and have sort of those same kinds of observations about how different of a week it is. And, like Scotty Scheffler, for example, is a guy, again, and we love him. He's found out in the last month that he's like the biggest Barstool fan in the world. He knows he's listening to like every Trent Bachelor show. He's just deep in the Barstool stuff, and he's
Shout out to
awesome.
Scotty.
And he's super nice dude.
He goes,
and-
Trent, are you going on cutting stems tonight? Last night after you got done putting for 4.5 hours.
Right, yeah.
he-
It's the Ryder Cup, and he just wanted to talk about how Demi is no longer on Paradise. He's like, I'm really bummed. She really brings like a good electricity to the show.
Like, dude, are you
He's
nervous
right.
about the Ryder Cup? He's like, I don't know.
He's a great example of a guy who, on a typical tournament round, even Saturday, Sunday, if he's close to contention, he's not going to have a fraction of the amount of people following his group that were following him in the practice rounds the last couple days.
Right.
Massive. Like, he hit a wedge in there, like, kind of close, and the crowd went bananas today on, like, the 11th hole in a practice round. And so that, like you're saying, changes things from their preparation standpoint. That actually does make me a little bit more sympathetic towards the Brooks
Yeah.
Koepka comments, because what he was saying was just that, like, if I do want to just leave the course and go take like a nap, I really can't, because like we got to be on the bus
Yeah.
at this time, we got to do all this other stuff that, like, from an average fan standpoint, it's like, oh, you have to play in the Ryder Cup. But in terms of trying to get ready and go out there under this intense pressure, this wind, all that stuff, and try to hit really, really good golf shots, you do want to be kind of prepared. And then a lot of those days, if you're one of the top dogs, Friday, Saturday, you might be playing golf from, if you 7:05, I think is the first tee time. So you get here at 6, and go through your whole warm up from 6 a.m. until like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
You might be playing golf basically.
Crazy.
And that's wild and very
Yeah.
different for them.
I think we're on TV, by the way. People are tweeting at us that we're in the background.
Oh,
See
really?
that? You see
Oh,
that
really?
Right there.
Come on.
This is big for me. So I'm on Live From and FOREPLAY at the same time.
That's so
I'm ripping
good.
the Band-Aid
We're
off.
What a
working all
big-
into one thing here. Yeah.
There's just like there was a blob of just people sitting there and a camera right in front of it on this tweet I just got.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
All right, that's us, I guess.
Oh,
We
you
didn't
can
even.
see Shane
I didn't even
Bacon.
know they were over there. I
No.
didn't know that was the studio.
I'm trying to. I want to have like some other insightful insights for you guys.
Well,
but-
how do you feel about the in practice rounds? I guess one thing that I wasn't prepared for is them playing alternate shot in
Yeah.
practice rounds. It's just so weird for me
Yeah.
to even. Yes, it makes sense they would do that, but I've never seen it. So when you watch it in person, it's very bizarre.
It's a confusing fan experience
Yes.
too, I think. Like people that come out to the practice rounds, like God bless you, but I hope you just kind of get a drink and post up and like enjoy watching it all, because it's hard to really make sense of it.
Dude, they'd
But
be
yeah.
like, "Who hit that one in there?" I'd be like, "I think it was DJ," but then like Morikawa would come up and putt it.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, "I thought you said it was DJ," and I was like, "I thought it was."
But then
DJ.
like DJ would hit another one in. It's like they're both playing alternate shot at the same time. I think the Europeans were playing literally, Fleetwood hits one, Lowry hits the next one, and so on. They just play one ball, but the Americans were doing like 2-ball alternate shot. The Americans might just overthink like every single step of this thing.
For sure.
Yeah, which would not be the most surprising thing.
But I will say, like, getting here, I'd never been to Whistling Straits before, and I'm curious what you guys think of this, but it felt, especially today with the wind, much more, I don't know, European, much linksier than I would have expected. Like, there are fairly wide fairways, but when the wind is ripping, like, the targets start to look a little bit smaller. There's definitely a lot of crap, like, that seems very in play. Guys getting some weird, squirrely lies. I still think the Americans are going to win, but I think that less than before I got here.
I would say today was today was chaos out there.
Yeah.
Like, following basically the Spieth, JT, Cantlay, Xander group for 5 or 6 holes. There were some horrible tee shots.
Spieth hit, so I mean the good example of the 12th hole, right? 142 yards today. JT hit 7-iron. Spieth hit it 30 yards left. Like, Bryson hit 2 different tee shots, didn't hit the green. I mean, it gets hard, especially because if you have to start it over the ocean.
Yep.
Shout out Frankie, the ocean.
There you go.
I love you could have just kept saying ocean
shot.
And not one of us at this point.
Yeah,
We
it's an
already
ocean.
forgot that it's like a lake.
I'm looking at Whitecaps right now.
Yeah, it looks very oceany.
It's a lake. Yeah, that was right. Because what do you think JT's 7-iron is traditionally?
185.
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's a
depending,
40-yard wind
yeah.
that he basically played that, and he hit it pin high. And so you think of these Ryder Cups, right? Especially when the U.S. sets it up as like a birdie fest. If the wind is blowing like this, it is, and I think that it's going to really put a premium on ball striking more, than because a lot of times, we've been hyping up the putting and like you got to make putts to win, but like if you're hitting fescue and shit and like missing fairways out here at this place, like look at what we're looking at.
It's an insanely intimidating first hole. Like if I'm playing this just as me, Frankie Briley, I'm not happy about this first hole. That green is up on a plateau. It's just an absolute nightmare around it. I mean, I'm obviously in a bunker off the tee. It's just you're walking away with a 7 to start your day at Whistling Straits. Not fun.
No. I think it's going to be an awesome match play course because there's a bunch of shortish par 4s. Bryson can, get weird and probably hit it right up around the greens. But then there's also going to be a bunch of par 4s playing into the wind, and they're going to be like long irons, 5 woods into greens. So I think it's going to be a good mix.
Have you heard any of these guys talk about with alternate shot how they have to play like the other guy's ball?
Yeah.
Like if it's like a Callaway versus like a Tatos,
Yeah.
how do they go about that?
Most of the Americans play Pro V1s, I think. So it's not like a massive deal, but I think people were saying that about Xander. I don't know. He and Cantlay seem like truly on the same page. They just want to vacation together. Like, doesn't seem like it's an issue.
Is that right?
But it is a funny
A
thing.
little vacation together?
Yeah, they went up to Napa,
Oh,
had a little vino, spent some of
beautiful.
Cantlay's money.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah, I was going to say a little bit of that, kind of 20 schmillion. I feel
I
like
think
that he's
it's
won
like
this year.
this bromance built on like hating social media. It's like it's like the low key boys, Cantlay and Schauffele, and I think they're the best U.S. team.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that would be the last team that I would want to have to go up against.
Think they're better than JT and Spieth?
I think right now they are. I think
Okay.
they're just both rock solid. I don't know. Looking at like top point scorer, Schauffele jumped out to me because he's going to play with Cantlay probably every time, and then his odds were a bunch higher. It was like 15-1, which seemed like too much.
Yeah, I would say I saw some horrible tee shots from Spieth today. But then I also, as much as I'm like talking about you, like followed a European group for one hole on maybe 13, I think it was, and every one of them missed the fairway by like 30 yards left. So it's like, when the wind's blowing like that, it's just hard. It doesn't matter really who you are.
And also, it's just impossible to know what to make of practice rounds or like range sessions. Like the word is that Sergio's hitting it awesome. Watched Rory for a few holes yesterday. He lipped out for a hole-in-one on 17 and then hit it to like 5 feet on 18. Like he looks like he's flushing it. Paul Casey, it sounds like, is flushing it. I don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah, because then these guys were at Kiowa, and they were like, dude, we saw Phil a couple days before the tournament started, and he was in a house of horrors.
He looked like he didn't know what a golf club was. He
On
didn't know what was happening.
On the driving range at Kiowa, I said to Trent, I said, can you believe Phil Mickelson's at the end of this driving range and no one cares?
Dude, he'd been out there for 2-3 hours.
One fan was over there. He was just like grinding over drivers, getting different drivers handed to him, looking at his team. I'm like, dude, this guy's an absolute lunatic. He walked by us, deep breathing, and then he fucking won the PGA.
Right.
This place is more similar to Kiowa than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they have like the same architect, but they're different parts of the country. I didn't really expect there to be any similarities. It's more similar than I thought.
What are you most looking forward to? Is there a storyline that are you getting caught up in this whole Bryson-Brooks thing?
Not so much the Bryson-Brooks thing, but more like just the Bryson thing. Like, how does this guy fit into a team environment? It's funny that, he seems like such an asset, like an obvious asset, especially for 4 balls, guys that can hit it a mile, make a bunch of birdies. But I feel like he's being slept on. They're kind of talking about, who can they pair him with, which is funny conversation to be having for like the 7th ranked player in the world.
Right.
So I'm interested to see how that works out. I think he's going to play with Harris English and Scotty Scheffler. is what it looks like. And then just to see like the thoroughbreds kind of show down. Like the U.S. now has some of these established teams, which I think is smart. JT and Spieth, Xander and Cantlay, DJ and Morikawa, which is funny because they're the top 2 ranked players in the world, but they feel like a big question mark.
Yeah, I was saying today, walking around for whatever reason, like DJ doesn't seem like a automatic win for me. Like when he goes out there, it's almost like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like history. I don't know because he's got so much history in the Ryder Cup, and that's not been great history clearly for the U.S. for the last 2 decades. But I don't know. And DJ was so mysterious this year, right? Because last year there was a stretch of 2 months where it was like, oh, this guy's just going to be the best player in the world for the next 10 years. He's unstoppable. He's winning by 11 shots. He's shooting 30 under. He's winning the Masters. And then all of a sudden this year, I don't know. It was like, how does he lose that much steam? It felt like there wasn't much to it. And now he's going to try to bring that to the Ryder Cup, which, again, he's not necessarily like, he's not running around with a fire under his ass, it doesn't seem like, unless he's playing us with fucking left-handed. So, DJ, I don't know. And Morikawa.
He's been all right. DJ's been a little better than people think. I think he's got like 4 top 10s in his last 6 starts.
Okay.
Morikawa's been funky, tweaked his back, basically beat no one in the FedEx Cup playoffs. I mean, he finished like last place just about.
Kevin Kisner
Ever since he wore that suit.
You think that's
I
what
talked
did
him
it?
to wearing a suit to the Northern Trust, and I don't think he made a par since he wore the suit. I mean, he was dead last. It was.
But he says
crazy.
he's 100%. So if you believe him,
yeah, that'll be an interesting pairing because he's not the. I mean, one of the things that sets him back from being like the best in the world is probably his putting, right? For Morikawa.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an unbelievable approach player and iron player. So it'll be interesting to see how he pairs up with DJ because I just think, dude, and there's a part of me that agrees with you, Riggs, where you're like, you don't know how he's gonna be, but also like we've seen him up close. He's the most competitive dude in the world. So you got to, you got to think DJ just brings it. Like when he steps up to the first tee at the Ryder Cup, he may not show the emotion because he puts people to sleep when he does interviews, but he's got to have that fire. I mean, he had that fire, like you said, playing us on a par 5 with a 7-iron.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like he's actually not necessarily one that his competitive. I just think, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's like it hasn't. Who did he used to? He played like Bubba Watson or something that he used to play with, Dylan, in Ryder Cups. You know, and it was like the two of the.
He's been all over the place. He played with Ricky, Gary.
Yeah,
Woodland,
that's right. That's right.
In the President's Cup.
So
It's funny though that the interview thing, like this was my favorite moment of the week so far. Was today. Cantlay, because Cantlay like suddenly loves to talk. I think he realized that
he's kind of doing the Brooks
it's
thing
fun
from
to
4
talk.
years ago.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
won.
Anyone that wins
now
is
it's
talks.
cool.
And we're gonna hate Cantlay in a month.
He was going through. Here, I just pulled it up, and he's going through. Why Europe keeps beating the U.S. and he was saying like, golf is very chancy. He said, you go to Vegas, you play roulette, and the chances are 50-50, but skewed towards the house a little. It could hit red 6 times in a row. And as he's talking about this, DJ walks in because he's doing the next interview. And Cantlay goes, look, that's not abnormal. You flip a quarter, it would be weird if the quarter flipped tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, heads. And DJ is just like turns and looks up with just like quizzical expression on his face. It was so funny. And then after Cantlay finished, that was the last question. DJ looks out and he's like, my answers are going to be a lot shorter than that. So perfect.
Yeah, I saw some of the Cantlay stuff, and like to a degree, he's probably right. But it's also like it's like with the roulette, it's like you roll one ball. Like the Ryder Cup is 28 matches or whatever it is. Like it's a pretty good sample size each time of just like running your talent against their talent a handful of different times and over 12 different guys. So I thought that like that was one thing that stuck out to me. It's different. I do like that Cantlay clearly is speaking more. Like clearly he's more thoughtful.
Yeah.
Than people probably gave him a ton of credit for. And that's why we got you here, to give those quotes and shit. We would have never come up with that, you know what I mean?
I got to bounce. Unfortunately, guys, I got a spotted cow waiting for me, but I appreciate you having me on.
How do you feel about the spotted cows?
Wisconsin beer, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I don't know. I feel like anytime you have a beer and someone says, oh, it's a great local beer, it always tastes good.
Spotted cow has...
It almost always tastes the same, too. It's always the standard
the same,
local beer taste.
You guys make a lager, too? That's so cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, Dylan.
Thanks for
you.
joining.
Check him out. He's on Twitter, Dylan Dethier, not Dethier.
Dethier.
And he's on golf.com, Golf
Dethier.
Magazine. Thank you, Dylan.
All right,
appreciate
see you,
it.
Man. The podcast is going to get much less,
informative.
Thank God. Now we can just sit.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing it.
Now we can just say
How's your knee,
typical,
Frankie?
Typical.
really bad.
So how about the ice cream here, huh? Delicious.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
No, I don't
No,
care.
we don't care about your
Because
knee.
my knee was. I thought you saw me struggling.
No.
No.
Barstool
joke.
Golf Time. This is a good time. Should I do Barstool Golf Time right now?
Yeah, do it.
Look, people are excited. It's Ryder Cup, golf fever, fall golf. A lot of places in the country get that fall foliage. You want to get out there and play golf. Barstool Golf Time is the way to do it. Create our own app.
Yep. We've had a lot of people come up to us this week at Whistling Straits about how good that app is. They use it all the time in their hometowns, on their home golf courses. You're going to use an app to download. You're going to use an app to get a tee time. It's just what you're going to do. You're playing public golf. You need to get a tee time. Why not just use the one where we're giving you a bunch of rewards? There's a bunch of weeks that we also boost the rewards where if you, within like a certain major week or a championship week, we're going to tell you, hey, if you book a certain amount of tee times in this week, we're going to give you 10 times points. It's happened in the past. It happened during the US Open week. So just keep an eye out for all that stuff. Download the app, use reviews, put up pictures. Just get involved. I mean, let's make this the best app in the world.
Videos, pictures, right? If you're going to book a tee time, think about, like, put yourself really in your own shoes. Like, once you've played around or when you are playing around, put yourself then in your own shoes before you played the round, and what did you want to see? You wanted to see videos and pictures and reviews, and you want people to comment on the greens and on what the conditions of the course are, what's the staff like, what's the clubhouse like. Like, you want to know all that information so that when you book your tee time, you can book it at the right place at the right price. Barstool Golf Time does that, and you also just reap rewards by doing that. So it would be crazy not to try to help other people out. It would be crazy not to get points and rewards where you can get discounted merch, tee times, and all kinds of good stuff. So go to your app store. I don't care what you use, iPhone, Android. What else is there?
I think that's it.
Is there another
Just
company?
The Google app store and the Apple App Store.
Just
So-
the two.
It should become a part of your post round routine. You input your score into like the Gin app, and then you also go to the Barstool Golf app and the Barstool Golf Tee Time app, and you just put in your review, your pictures, your videos, all that stuff. Every time you play golf, just go do that. Simple as that.
I agree with you, Frankie. There's also a second email that I have to read about real quick. I almost, by the way, Jake Bass warned me about this. I almost went to the first one and blew it.
Oh,
So big credit to me that I didn't. Book and play Wednesday, September 22nd to Wednesday, September 29th, and we'll grant bonus points
here we go.
depending on who wins. If Frankie Trent and Team USA win, bookings will receive 1,000 bonus points. If Riggs and Team Europe win, booking points will receive 500 bonus points.
Oh,
Well, that seems a little skewed against me there.
Nope, that makes sense.
In addition to these bonus points, if it is your first time booking on Barstool Golf Time, you will get a free golf polo after you play. Watch out for an email after you play to claim your shirt. So if Europe wins, you get 500 bonus points. If USA wins, you get 1,000 bonus points. So again, the whole DAX pretty stacked against Riggs there in terms of just likeliness. So that's a little tough. But go to your app store and download the Barstool Golf Time app.
speaking of USA versus Europe, now that we've been here for a couple days, you can't possibly be happy with what your situation is, right?
Well, what surprised me is you guys very much act like you don't have a brain and understand how we got to
Oh, we have a
this
brain.
point.
We have a brain.
How we got to this point.
Yeah, you were drunk and you tweeted. That's how we got to
We
this
have a
point.
brain.
But what is right? What's confusing to me is like this notion of like when we did when I did the Tiger Woods thing. I was like, well, yeah, if Tiger Woods shows up, like obviously I'm not gonna be a root. That's an out. And you guys are like, well, you can't have an out because you did this. But then when we're here, you guys are like, how are you possibly rooting for USA? Well, it's like you
Well,
can't.
no,
have,
we're
like,
just kind of like
that
not
doesn't make
letting you
sense.
forget that you are not rooting for the United States of America. It's our job to make sure that you never forget, just like we don't forget.
I will say, I feel from a betting standpoint happy. And the
But
reason
we're-
is, let me just say real quick, the reason is because I think this has become pretty much a pick'em in terms of who's going to win, and Europe's 2-1. So I think from a value standpoint, yeah, I'm very
Which
happy
is
with that.
fine. Like, I mean, at that point, like, you can bet on anything. You can hedge your happiness. You can do all of this stuff. But I'm talking about walking around here, seeing all these stars. We're sitting here on the amazing grandstand on the first tee box at Whistling Straits. There's gonna be, I don't know how many thousand people can fit in these grandstands. It's gonna be an amazing scene. You're just gonna be rooting against all of this, and that's cool to you? You love that?
And we did get reports from the driving range from people who were standing behind us saying, boy, it sure seemed like Riggs followed Team America a lot today. Like you were oogling and looking at him like, boy, I really love these boys. And then you're just going to be
Dapping
rooting
up
for
Scotty Scheffler.
you're going to be rooting for Team Europe. Yeah.
Nobody was oogling. It's like
There was some
as
oogling, I
a
heard.
golf media, like we're following the people that are in the tournament. I was following Europe, following USA. Both of those things were true.
Which one do you think you followed more?
Today?
Yeah.
Probably Team USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they just happen to be
Keeping his eye on the competition, maybe.
First, yeah. I mean, that was kind of part of it. It was like scouting. I'm trying to see, maybe if I wanted to get on some prop bets, who's playing well, who's not. Like, I'm trying to get a full look at the field. But at the end of the day, the best outcome for me would be for Team USA to have picked Kevin Kisner, and yeah, we'd be all in on that. But I think that they made a bad decision, and I am very much committing to what I said if they don't, and I think that I'm going to be proven right. That's what I think.
It's just a shame because it would have been better had you just admitted you made a mistake with the tweet. Instead, you're now on the side of being like, I can't go back on my word because, like, my word is sacred.
You can't.
Yes, you can.
You can't literally say you're going to do something and then not do it.
You also can't,
I do it all the time.
You literally can't root for USA your entire life and then just not do that. You're turning your back and you're going back on all of the things that you've done for 30 years.
This podcast flip-flops on every single subject
in
in golf.
But I think when you put something in words, it's different. You guys know
but
that.
Still,
when you put something in writing, it's different.
Your passion for Team USA should outweigh your passion for wanting to back up a tweet about Kevin Kisner. But that's where a lot of the fans and like people and the listeners and us find that to be insane, that you're able to continuously keep talking about why you should be doing that.
Yeah, I've had multiple people tweeting me and just say, he could just say I didn't mean the tweet, and I can now root for Team USA.
Well, no, because I think a lot of the genesis of the tweet, as I've explained many times, comes from a very real point and frustration, and
that's where we disagree.
I don't even know if you believe in that, though.
I do,
but we've talked about how you kind of don't. Like, you like the way the team is looking, like you, except for just one guy. We've done this,
but it's not
5
just
weeks
I
in a
know
row
we
now.
keep doing it. It's not just one guy though. It's like if it was just one guy, then we wouldn't be in this place clearly. But I think it's an entire like ethos of the team over 2 decades. I think it's like arrogance, and it's like
been that bad, dude. Like, and a lot of people have helped me out with the argument, even today, screaming at me, being like, dude, in 2012 they had an epic collapse on Sunday singles. Like, they should have won that year. They were the better team. 2014 they won. 2016 they got fucking
2014 they got killed.
2016 they won, and then 2018 they get fucking blown out. But like Sky Scheffler's, like Patrick Cantlay saying, sometimes it doesn't always go red at the roulette table, and it is kind of a flip. When you're here at Whistling Straits, it is the flip of a coin. Both these teams are fucking fantastic at golf. You never know what's going to happen. So it's like, how could you possibly just think they could possibly win 2 out of the last 3 Ryder Cups? Like, why is that a bad ethos? Why is that a team that's crumbling and not having good leadership? That's a winning team.
But I think they're 2-7.
Yes,
like, that is horrible.
Right,
I don't know how you can argue against that.
Because, like, the teams in 2002, they're not even playing on no one on that team is on this team.
But this is like the first time Phil Mickelson hasn't been on a Ryder Cup team since like 1994.
And don't you agree that that's a good decision that they made?
Right, but my point is that like all of those teams did have a lot of the same guys.
But the fact that they don't have Phil Mickelson, the fact that they don't have Patrick Reed and they're making changes and they're trying to win and trying to create a better ethos, that's everything that you said they wouldn't do. And that's the only reason why you're not rooting for USA. And they're doing all this stuff.
But I don't know that they're trying. Like,
they literally are. As you just said, it's the first time Phil Mickelson's not on the team since fucking 19.
Like, okay, like eventually he's going to be
I think the
too
Patrick
old.
Reed is a better point. That
I know,
they
but,
left
like,
him off.
I'm
agreeing with you.
They're making changes is my point. They're moving on. They're younger. They're guys like Phil Mickelson are no longer on the team. It's not this. You can't keep making the same arguments about the team from 1998 as you are about the team in 2021. It's just not fair. It's not fair to the team that's playing currently right now. You can say that in a lot of sports too. I hate when people do that.
Well, I've also very much not blamed the players. I've blamed the leadership, and I don't. Like, that's exactly why I've been upset. I don't think that, like, the leadership has done the right things and taken the right steps and the right moves. And I think that you're right. If it was just 1 Ryder Cup, or if it was even 3 or 4 Ryder Cups, I don't know that it would be like this, in my mind, wow, we really need to, like, look and change and try to create a winning formula going forward, because that wouldn't be when it's been 9 and when you've been favored in the majority of them and you're 2-7. I think that's a significant problem. There are only 2 wins since then, have come on home soil when you get to set up the course exactly how you want. You get to do all of the things exactly how you want to. So you are a massive favorite typically when you're at home, and they haven't won on the road since whatever, the early 90s, and they've gotten stomped. They lost by 9 points twice. We got beat by, I believe, 7 points in France, despite being heavy favorites in terms of world rankings and all that. So I think, like the United States team.
The course was set up, just like you just said.
Absolutely. And I get all that. But, like, Europe won in 2012 on the road. Like, they've found ways to win on the road, and we just, like, haven't. And I think, again, that, like, when you look at that, you have to, at some point, look at, like, what are the reasons for that? I don't think you can just say, like, well, it's like a roulette wheel. I think that's, like, not caring that much when you just say that. I think you need to like really, really, really want to win to a point, and I think Europe has proven that. Like I think Europe has gone out there and clearly figured out a formula despite having players, world rankings, all that is like less talented, that is considered to be not as good. That's why they're not the favorite most often to win, and I think like that clearly shows through.
I shake my head. It's just
You're
tough.
shaking your damn head.
Yeah.
SMDH.
How do you
Because
think
Kevin
he,
Kisner's not the fucking answer to this thing. It's just he's our buddy. It's crazy to see this. It really is, man. You have this
I think
deep-rooted
he's
hate
more
for
than
Team
just our buddy.
USA, Team USA golf, and you think that it's Kevin Kisner's the answer because he's gonna go play billiards with Scotty Scheffler, and they're gonna have
No,
a
but you keep
hoorah
doing the
rah.
beers thing. You like.
I can't get over it because that's one of your main points.
Well,
Every time you talk
another
about
one of
kids,
the
you
points
say
is that he's 16-5-1 in match play.
he's
That like
never played in the Ryder Cup. Like you have no idea what he would do.
he played in the President's Cup. He was undefeated.
Right, but they won like they play well in the President's Cup, do they not?
Well, yeah, that year they had the most historic win of all time. It's the only time he's ever been on an American team. Like I think that helps my case, not hurts it.
What do you think the response from the fans has been like so far out here at Whistling Straits? More or less negativity than you had thought?
Way less than I would have thought.
I agree.
Way less.
It's unfortunate.
It's been a lot of like, Riggs, you traitor. Ha, can I get a picture? It's been a lot of that.
I just don't know how you come back from this. Like next like in Rome, you're just gonna like root for them.
What does Kisner think about this?
I would love to know that. I don't even think he gives a fuck. If he
What does
it'd
he
be
think about you rooting for Team Europe on behalf of him not being selected
He's
for the
so
Ryder
off
Cup?
brand if he cared.
Well, I know Kevin Kisner is rooting, obviously, for Team USA, 100%. I know that.
That was a very political answer.
You needed to say that.
Well,
Been a
I don't
bad
know what
quote
he.
card.
I don't know. I haven't
You don't
asked him.
know?
I haven't asked him.
Oh, wow.
You've turned on your country and you don't even know if the guy you don't know what his stance is. All over it. You turned on a country for this guy.
Well, it wasn't about his stance. It was like it was just deeper than like, I hope my friend gets on the team. That's what I'm trying to explain. Like, I think he literally would help this team win. I think that putting more guys like a Kevin Kisner on this team and having the balls to do it over the last 2
Who else
decades would
you
have
put on the
delivered
team? Who's
many
like
more
a Kevin Kisner?
wins.
Who's like a Kevin Kisner?
Not a lot of people like Kevin Kisner.
Okay.
That's
So it seems like it's just Kiz. Put Pat Perez on the team?
this
over-
year. No, I wouldn't. No.
Okay.
Would you?
No. I wouldn't put Kiz on either.
Wow. That's
Well, I
different.
mean,
you
the
haven't said
obvi-
that yet.
Like
That's the first time you've said that, I believe.
that's fine. Like I just don't know that he's like the yes or no answer. Like I think Kiz would even admit that. I just don't know that he is the guy that's going to change this what you're claiming is a 20-year problem that's deep rooted in United States golf in competitive play, team play. You think Kevin Kisner is the one and only change?
I've never not once said he's the one and only
No, but
change.
it's like
I've
you're
said many
alluding
times,
to
like
it,
I think if the team showed, in my opinion, they're going in the direction where they're like, yep, in terms of what we're trying to cultivate and build, Kevin Kisner is a central part of that. That would say to me a lot of the things that I want to hear from the United States team that I think they're missing.
Right. I'm just saying I do not think he's the one and only answer. I
So
think
there
that's a
isn't
fine
any other
stance to have.
guy on tour that you would put on this team to try to create that culture. It's just Kevin Kisner?
I wouldn't say there's not any other guys. I'm saying, like, from what I looked at this year, like, I thought Scotty Scheffler was a great choice.
Agreed.
I think adding, like, a Kevin Kisner with another guy like a Scotty Scheffler would have been a couple guys that I think are extremely well-liked, who putt very well, who also would be, like, Ryder Cup rookies, which I get to have. But, like, I want, in my opinion, I think more guys that the Ryder Cup would mean the world to them, I think also helps, and I think that would have been huge for a guy like Kevin Kisner.
Think the Ryder Cup means the world, or it doesn't mean the world to Daniel Berger?
I don't know.
So you just
Maybe.
know that it would for Kiz because he's like your buddy.
Yeah, I believe that it would. Like,
Okay.
in my heart of hearts, I believe, that this would be
Just
like
not
the biggest.
seems not fair to Daniel Berger.
Why?
Who played better golf than Kevin Kisner, and you're assuming he does not care about it.
I did, but I never said he doesn't care.
Well,
I
you
think
just
that
said
it would
that.
mean
You
the
think that-
world. I
you
think
think
that's
that it-
different. I think caring and then something being the world
Do you
to
think
you
it-
is different. I think
Do you
like a
not
big
know
part
it
of the
means
reason.
the world to Daniel Berger?
Well, I think a big part of the reason the United States team hasn't played that well for that shit is because we've had guys who, by the way, it's been very clear in the media. They've said, like, we need to be paid. We said all this stuff, that the Ryder Cup is not the world to them. And I think that when you have guys on your team, that the event is the world to them. It is the biggest thing that they will ever play, and it'll be the biggest week golf-wise, career-wise of their life. I think that breeds a winning culture and a winning passion that clearly Europe has had and the United States team has not.
Jordan Spieth says he has his first tee shot from the Ryder Cup painted over his bedroom bed in his room.
Seems like a guy that cares.
It's the only thing he's ever gotten done.
That's a guy who's had some big moments.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Spieth has had a great Ryder Cup.
Do you think this is?
I think JT has also had one.
So
I think
we're just
that the
talking
guys
about
that are
guys
in the
in the
leadership
US
have
it means
not.
the world to. It means the world to these guys. Everything you're saying that you think this team has, we have it.
Do you think it means the world to Brooks Koepka? Do you think it means the world to Bryson DeChambeau?
No, but do you know that it means the
well,
world
those are
to
two of the guys.
Wiesberger? Or are you just assuming that because they all drink beers together?
Well, I'm assuming that they have that because their team has been less talented yet continued to win. So again, we've talked about this a million times.
Right.
I've explained this to you a million times. That
It's not explaining.
when
It's
a
like your
team
opinion.
is less talented, then you have to look at the next factors that are making the difference. And I think that's what I've looked at as the difference.
So if they lose this year, that's 2 out of 3 years. Like, what's the difference for Europe? They're just not as good then? Their camaraderie
I think
didn't
that would be
matter?
I think that you would probably the first thing you would look at is is the United States team just better at golf than we are? And I think you could probably just check that box and say, yeah.
Oh, so we don't get any good camaraderie, nothing from the other, like the guys that care, like the guys who are getting paintings on top of their bedroom walls. And
Well, so what would be your checklist when your team loses? What's the first thing you would look at? Are they better or worse?
Right. But I
Right.
also
So
think that
then,
teams
like-
can care very much. Like guys can care extreme amounts and still lose a sports competition. I
think
don't
so,
think
too.
I think that you just drawing this line in the sand and saying like the only reason that they would lose, since they are 2-1 favorites, the only reason they would lose is because they do not care. There are guys that come out with horrible quotes about like getting paid and like it's a different scenario and all this stuff. It's also the Jeff Shacklefords of the world that are trying to drum up controversy, because we see these guys out here practicing, wanting to care, loving it. They love golf. They want to win when they're on the tee box. We've all admitted that. We've all confirmed that we think that Brooks Koepka wants to win when he steps up to the first tee on Friday. So I just don't think that it's fair to say that the only reason that they're not winning over the last 20 years is because they do not care. Like, I just think you win and lose in sports. It just happens. Like, guys just lose. Better teams lose all the time. It happens all the time.
Right, but I think
and they are on a winning they're on the winning turnaround if they do win this week.
But I think people, literally, it's their entire jobs. People get paid millions of dollars to be put into places where their job is to take what you just described and figure out why a team is not winning. So, like, that's not uncommon in sports. That's actually universally occurs in sports, where if a team is not winning, you don't you don't just say like, well, roulette wheels, like, right, 49% of the time, tough break. Like, you look very critically at your team, at your talents,
You don't
at
think
what your
they do
shortcoming.
that,
And I
though?
think
You
that
act like
that's
these guys just like close their eyes and pick a Ryder Cup team.
No, I do think that they do that. That's what we're doing right now and talking about it. And my answer is what I've been saying, that I think that's what lacks, because clearly it's not the talent that lacks. The American team is more talented. 11 of the top 12 ranked players in this entire tournament are Team USA. Like, it's not the talent that lacks. So my point is, like, if it's not that, then Frankie, what do you think it is? Like, why do you think Team USA has lost 7 of the last 9?
I just think that they've lost the sport that they're playing. They got the balls in the hole, not as little amount as the other team. That's genuinely what I think. I think that every single guy that plays for the United States at the end of the day tries to win that match that they're playing in. I do.
But I never said they don't try.
Right, but like, so I that's what I'm saying. I just think they lose, and I don't know why that's not an acceptable answer. I don't know why you always have to come up with like a reason.
Front office in the world that would accept that
front
as an
office, but
answer.
like,
like in sports, there's front office.
right, I know in
That's what they
sports
do.
there's a front office. Like, we have a front office. They made changes. They left Patrick Reed off. Like, I just think that at some point they just go out and play the sport. Like, they always assess the team as best as they can. They just happen to leave your friend off. I don't know why we're talking about this team this year at this Ryder Cup, and we're talking about the team from 2002. Like, we're talking about the last 20 years, the last 2 decades of United States golf, and you're trying to pinpoint why they haven't won. And we've talked about Ryder Cups
But I
they
think
have
that's
won.
what we do in sports. We try to pinpoint why results happen and why they didn't. That's literally like we dissect stuff and we react to it. And I think just giving the answer of like, they just played better golf. I don't like.
Why is that
But
not
we
a
are,
simple answer?
but we are the ones who say that, but we don't do the work because we're not the captains. They actually do the work. So it's like we can say like, yeah, I mean, they just played better than the other team did, because that's all that we can control. Like,
Right.
But
why is it not an acceptable answer to say they lost? They just lost. Why is it not acceptable to say in France they just didn't play well?
So when you – well, let me ask you this. Like when the Islanders lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning, when you sit down at the bar afterwards with your dad or with players of the team or whatever, does the conversation just end at, well, they played better hockey, but we're going to do the exact same thing and we'll just hope we play better hockey next year?
See, I don't think so. I think that you're able to talk about certain
so what do you guys
skill
say?
Levels and all of this stuff.
Right, so what do you guys say? What do you like if you're trying to get to, we're going to try to beat Tampa Bay Lightning next year? What would be some of your ideas?
You could bring in a new player based off of skill level. I would never, ever go down to they didn't care enough. That would never be the first thing that I would ever say. I would say, you know what? They just weren't good enough to beat them. They need to bring in a goal scorer. They need a pure goal scorer. They need a guy that can sit on the dot and rip one-timers. They don't have that. They don't possess that. They do not own that player. So, that's something that I would talk about. I would never say, oh, you know what? Leo Komarov didn't give a fuck out there. We need the guy that's drinking beers at fucking Mulcahy's.
Your answer isn't just, well, they got the puck in the net more than we did. Your answer is we need to bring something in. We need to change something.
I think they genuinely have a front office that does that. You think that they don't look at the beers aspect. They don't look at the playing darts at the end of the night aspect.
Right, so my point is just that we disagree on what needs to be changed, but we do agree there's something that needs to be changed.
And they change it each time. Don't they bring in new guys?
Is why can't we just say they played better golf? My point would be
just like you can't those changes, though. He's saying they did change those things, and it just didn't work.
You act like there's this dark cloud over USA that doesn't want them to win, or they don't want them to have fun, and that's the reason they lose. Because we have all these better players, they never change the team. They do change the team every time.
But what I'm saying is I don't think we'll know the answer to that question until the end of the Ryder Cup. And what I would say is that the issues that I think a lot of people have that look at the Team USA and why they've lost, and who spout the same reasons that I have spouted, will point to things like the negative bullshit in the media that has been aplenty leading up to this Ryder Cup, that was aplenty at the end of the last Ryder Cup, that has been aplenty for the last 2 decades, and say, have they really changed? If 2 of the guys have to put out a video that is trying to convince everyone that they really do like each other, is that really, has that changed? Has that team? So we'll know after. Obviously,
so if they lose
this
Ryder Cup,
but I think.
Care?
I've never said they don't care.
I'm
no
asking
one's
a
ever
question.
said they don't care. No, that won't be the answer. I don't know. We won't know until we see it happen.
I asked if they lose, you'll think that it's not because they just played worse golf? You think they didn't make enough changes this year? Obviously, because you think they didn't put Kevin Kisner?
Well, it depends how they lose. I think that matters. How seeing it unfold, seeing what comments are made, what pairings are made, how those unfold. That will determine, I think, my reaction and my breakdown of why they did or didn't lose or whoever wins. But my point is just that when there's a team that loses, I don't think that it would be an acceptable answer for you if someone just said yeah, they put more pucks in the net. That's it. I think you would want to go way deeper, dude. I think you would want to be way deeper into the differences between the teams and how come Tampa's won 2 cups in a row and the Islanders haven't. I think you would want to go way deeper and try to get answers so that you can solve it in your own brain, even if you don't have front office power, and talk about your team and then get that team to a winning level. I think that's what people want to do.
I think that's totally acceptable. I just think that you're not seeing that Team USA does that. You're just
because I don't think it's been any proof that they have.
But that's the part that drives me crazy, and I don't know about anyone else that's listening to this or Trent, but if you didn't send out that tweet, we wouldn't be talking about any of this. And you're sitting here trying to explain to us why you think the United States team has this horrible ethos around them, and they are this destroyed. The inner workings are all just collapsing at the seams. But if you didn't send the tweet, I think we'd all just be here being this fucking team rocks and we're ready to rock, and this team looks like they're ready to go. And Jordan Spieth has paintings on his fucking wall. When he goes to sleep, he kisses it at night. And Justin Thomas has all these fucking we the people cleats, and Bryson's hitting bombs into the parking lot. You would all be jacked, but instead you're trying to explain to us why we are sheep. Accepting that the United States doesn't make any changes. It's all because you sent one tweet that you have a totally different viewpoint on this team. I think that's genuinely what I think. It's infuriating to listen to. You're talking down to us about how we don't see why this team is not winning. It's dude, you'd be in the same position as us, rooting on your team had you not met Kevin Kisner and then become friends with him.
I think if you went back to 2018, you would see very clearly many similar sentiments, especially after that Ryder Cup, about how much of a fucking disaster Team
But that
USA
was a disaster, and they made changes. It was a disaster. They were like going to the newspaper and fucking like
They're
use
still
golf
going
fac-
to the newspaper.
Like
and
use
doing
golf
shit.
facts
Like,
was a
how
problem.
have they made that many
Like
changes? Use
no
golf
one-
facts still a problem. She's still tweeting about shit.
Yeah, but they're not part of the team. Like my point is that like they were a fucking problem. No one talked to each other. Tiger Woods was a part of that team, and like I don't understand. Like there's no way you would feel this way had you not sent that tweet. That's the only part that really makes me aggravated. If we were having this conversation and
I don't know that I'd be rooting for Europe, but I would feel this way. I would very much feel.
you love these changes they made. You love this team. You're here at Whistling Straits. You're seeing these guys.
I would be discouraged by a lot of stuff, though. Like the Brooks Bryson stuff.
But
I
they're
know you keep
here
saying
and they're
that, like,
fucking grinding. Like they're literally
Of
grinding.
course they're grinding, but they were
do you mean,
grinding
of course
the
they're
last Ryder
grinding?
Cup. Like they grind at tournaments.
Okay,
they
so they
still
tried,
are
dude.
putting quotes out there that like are bad.
Oh, they put a couple quotes out there, like, and the media goes fucking crazy. They still want to win, dude. They still want to win this thing. We've all agreed upon that. They still want to win,
but no
very
one's
badly.
arguing that they don't want to win. It's like
You wouldn't be as discouraged, is my point. Like you're like feeding in. You're the sheep when it comes to the media. Like you're like feeding into these two bad storylines, which now like we're here. No one's even caring about that. Like they're going crazy when they step up to the tee box. They're going crazy at
They
the
don't even
driving
care.
range.
The two of them don't
The
care.
two of them don't even care. They want to win.
What you said last week or a couple episodes ago is very true. If you watch them on the driving range, like they don't actually hate each other. Like there's not this huge like beef where they see each other every day and they're yelling at each other like fuck you. They see each other on the range, and I get that people are watching, so maybe some of it is, you know, performative or whatever, but they're sitting right next to each other, standing right next to each other, hitting balls, talking a little bit. Like the media has definitely, and we've for sure played into this, I'm not denying that, but they don't really care as much as we thought.
Bro, they're not like, it's not fucking Spider-Man versus like the Green Goblin. They're not like legitimate villain hero people where they go fighting and they throw each other through walls and shit. They're just like, they make comments. So it's like to say that that's going to bring down this team. Like I don't know. To me it's just crazy. Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter literally hated each other for 10 years and they won a World Series together because they, like, you just end up doing it. It doesn't mean that the locker room's like a horrible place to be in. Like you just figure it out. I don't know. If they lose this Ryder Cup, it's not because Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka don't like each other on Twitter. It's because they just didn't play as good golf. Like Bryson like pulled a bunch of drives and like couldn't keep it on the fairway. Like that's the reason why they lose. And I don't know. You can like not agree with me, but that's my opinion. I just think it's going to come down to the golf. I think everyone here cares.
Yeah, I think it always comes down to the golf. I agree. I just think you can do things that make it so that your team is more likely to play their best when it comes to team golf. I think there's a lot that you can do. I think Europe's done a better job of it. That is the way that I explain the 2-7 record. Everybody can disagree. Totally fine. That's just the way that I see it and the way that I explain it. And again, I think if you went and listened to podcasts from 2018, that was pretty in line with the takeaway of like, holy shit, everyone was coming into this after the 2017 President's Cup when USA won the thing literally on Saturday. It was mathematically over. It was a complete rout. Everyone's talking about US has JT, we have Spieth, we have Berger was at that 2017 President's Cup. Everyone's like, DJ, this is over. Like, we're just going to win every event. And then they lost by 7 on foreign soil, and there were the comments in your time, and I think that we had very similar reactions then of like, how does a team that is so good have such a bad performance? And again, I think you have to, in my opinion, the way that I would try to dissect it is I would look at other extracurricular stuff, and that stuff wasn't going well. So that's the way that I see it. Clearly we see it differently. We're just not.
I don't think we see
Friday.
it differently. I think they made changes. I think they all looked at it, and I think this is a different U.S. team that we saw in France.
We'll see.
You don't agree? You don't think it's a different outlook? You don't think that they've assessed the team and the changes?
What I do see clearly, if there's 6 like rookies, it's going to be different personalities. So there's a change there, whether it was like forced or whether they like either way, that's a good thing, I think. What you don't know is like the other stuff, I think, which is like you just don't like they're going to put out video wise like stuff that makes them look good, and they're going to hype it up. And
what is the
gonna
other
get into
stuff?
that. Like the genuine like
Beers?
Beers.
chemistry.
Is it
and all that.
beers?
Is it beers?
Is it beers?
Let's
Because you
level with
quote
us.
tweeted the
Is
joke
beers gonna
that Ian
solve this?
Poulter said, or someone said, they've got a ping pong table, we've got a bar. It's like, does that always come down to beers with these guys?
How many beers is going to solve
How
this
come
thing?
how come you act like team chemistry doesn't matter? That's what's
It
like,
does,
surprising
but does
to
it
me.
come down to like the guy that drinks the most on tour to be a part of the team? Like what?
Well, no, now you're just being ridiculous.
Well, I'm
You know,
not
that's
being
like a real
ridiculous,
thing.
like-
well, yeah, it is. Like, you don't believe that.
But every single time we talk about this, and every time you've brought up kids, and you can go back and listen to your points, you say, like, Kevin Kisner makes the point that we should all, like, go bowling and drink beers together. Like, that is, like, one of the main reasons he should have been a part of the team. So my question is, like, what are the other stuff that we're not seeing, since they're clearly putting out quote-unquote fake reaction videos? Like, what are
who said that?
I'm saying
Quote,
you just
unquote.
said, like,
I didn't say
you said
fake.
like they put out these videos, like, to try and show, like, publicly, like, that they're all friends.
You
but,
don't
like,
think that they do?
well, my point is, like,
But
what's the other stuff that they should be doing, like, that?
But then if
they're
they
not
don't do
doing?
none of that, then you're like, oh, there's no team chemistry.
What's the other stuff? Because you keep saying other stuff. Like, what's the stuff they should be doing? What should Team USA be doing
So
tonight?
here's a good example. It's like the Patrick Reed stuff from the last Ryder Cup. We didn't know any of that stuff was going on or anybody's upset until afterwards, when Patrick Reed called the media and called New York Times and said, yeah, we were fucking pissed. We were upset about this. We were upset with Spieth. We were upset with Furyk. When Phil Mickelson went after Tom Watson, he revealed in that press conference, like, yeah, when I got sat on Saturday, I was furious. I went to Tom Watson. We don't know those things. We don't know how that's all going. We don't know how those relationships are going. We don't know how those things are going to play out until they play out. So my point is that, like, yes, all of it now in terms of the talent, the skill, the captain's picks, the personnel, that service level stuff is very obvious. And I think so far, you're right. I think, like, having the 6 rookies, bringing in guys like, I think Berger is feisty, and, like, there's definitely a chance he could be that kind of Poulter-like figure, or even fill in, like, what I was hoping Kevin Kisner would be in the Ryder Cup. Scheffler, I've talked about that positive. But that other stuff that's gotten revealed in a very negative light afterwards, we won't know until the Ryder Cup happens.
Okay.
I guess then it's hard to speculate on the stuff that is positive that might be happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But I think a lot of that gets revealed in the performance of the team. Like, I think when they go out there, and if they're gelling and playing incredibly well, and they've got a lot of faith in each other as, like, teammates, and they let that propels and builds on itself for them to play their best golf, and they go out and get the win. Like, I think that will be revealed, that, like, oh yeah, this is the real team. This is, like, what they've been trying to build.
Shouldn't you have waited until after the Ryder Cup then to switch your allegiances?
Yeah, because you don't know
No.
this stuff's not happening. Just because
You
one
just
guy.
rattled off all the good things that are
Well, I
happening
know it's
prior
like,
to the
I know it
first
hasn't
tee
been
shot.
happening for 2 decades.
Well, yeah, Tom Watson and Phil Mickelson are both tying their white shoes in their home right now. It's not
Yeah,
this.
they're
This
not on
isn't
this
Tom
team.
Watson's fucking Ryder Cup team. Like, everything you just
so-
described about the United States team, you
Could
got
be
me
happening.
jacked up right now. You're like that. Like, you just described an unreal team.
And I
Daniel
have-
Berger, feisty, ready to go. Like, these Stricker fucking picked a great team. All we know, we have no idea what's going on behind the doors. We don't know if they're drinking beers. We don't know if they're playing ping pong. We don't know if they're watching movies. We'll find out after. But shouldn't you have waited until after, since you just described a great newfound team?
What I've said is I'll be the first one to put my hand up if I was wrong and say that I was wrong, and say, yeah, this is actually awesome. This is the Team USA that I was hoping they would have built. This is the Team USA that I'm excited now going forward.
But you see
With
why
the
we're,
JTs
like,
and the Spieths and all that for decades to come has now been part of a fostered winning environment, and that's fantastic.
You could have
But
easily
we
done
haven't
that from
seen
this side
yet.
of the fence.
Right, but you see, like, why we're so, like, you're saying that we're gonna have to wait until the end to see if all the stuff that you've been arguing against us is true, and we're like, well, why don't you just come on our side?
And
Like,
wait-
we're having, like, massive debates about if this team is, like, the team that you're saying they are, if they aren't, and we'll never know until the end. We're saying we like everything that we see, and you're, like, trying to explain to us why it's, like, deep rooted into Tom Watson's fucking Ryder Cup team. It's like, well, no, like, we're actually pretty excited about this team, and you're saying, yeah, you should be, but what if at the end it's everything I'm saying? It's, like, not a fair thing for us to be on the other side of. You're not letting us win at all. Like, it's crazy. It's a debate.
I just said I'll be the first one to put my hand
Yeah,
up and
but,
say
like,
I was wrong. That
you're
would
saying,
be
like, it's
winning.
everything
You guys
that-
would be winning. I don't
Yeah,
like
but that's
to say
like
I'm
you're
wrong.
saying,
I hate
like,
it.
if they win, it's like everything that you said they should have changed. So it's like no matter what happens, you win.
No, but I think there's a chance. I think there's a world where the U.S. ekes out a win, and I still think, like, I could not love what I saw. Like, it could be fucking. There could be infighting. There could be clips of, like, some guys bitching at the captain about it, and they, like, I think that's a realistic world where I'm like, yeah, that got it done. You know, when they're favorites, they got there, but that's still not like the Team USA going forward. They can go into Rome. They can go into anywhere and get it done. Like, I think that's a possibility.
Certainly is a possibility. It's certainly.
I hope it's unlikely. Like, I don't want that. That's not what I want. What I wanted was Kevin Kisner to be on this team to then have all the awesome positive traits of a winning team, foster a winning environment going forward. They come here, they win, and we're all happy, but that didn't happen.
Beers.
It has to. It
Fuck
comes
you.
back to
Fucking
beers.
beers,
It comes
dude.
back to
Come
beers.
on. Everybody
It
fucking
comes
knows
back
that.
to those beers, man.
They drank 12 to 18
How many
more
beers
beers
Now you guys
together.
are straw manning.
How
If
many
they're
beers
straw
is it
manning.
going
They-
to take?
How
What's a
many
straw
beers
man?
is it going to take for
win
this
this
team?
Ryder Cup?
I don't know.
We're
It
looking
doesn't
at
feel
a-
like we've done enough.
Looking
Pull
at
up
a
a
straw
stat.
man. You know
Doesn't
what's
feel like
another
we've
good
drank
one?
enough beers.
You know what else they might need? Cigars.
Here we go. Macanudos.
Macanudo from General
We can
Cigar.
all agree on this.
True.
Can we?
I think so. Well, depending
let's
on
see.
white versus red.
I like them both, but the white cigars are my favorite.
What's the name of the white ones?
Inspirato White.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the
It's-
best cigar, the best sit back, relax, put your feet up. Maybe you're looking at some water. Maybe you're looking at some trees.
We smoked a couple abandoned.
We
It's
looked
just
at some
there's
water.
nothing
We looked at
better
some trees.
for a trip like that than a bunch of Macanudo cigars.
Oh, they light
at the
so
end of the day.
easy. They go down. They go into your mouth and out your mouth as nice as anything that goes into my mouth.
Just goes in and comes back out and goes back
It's as
in and
simple
comes
as
back
that.
out over and over again. And it's just really pleasurable. The Inspirato Orange is the European-based tobacco, medium-bodied, smooth, creamy,
Well,
with
you
a
probably
little
like that one.
citrus flavor. I love that one. The
I missed that
Inspirato
joke.
White,
What was that?
It's
Ecuador.
European-based tobacco.
You know,
That
it's
is
kind of
honestly
hard.
my
It is.
favorite.
I gotta admit, it is hard to do a 3-week-long debate podcast with people that you're gonna just be with for a fucking weeks long
I know.
straight. You know, we've been together for fucking a month, and we're just arguing with each other
Right.
every week and
This
getting mad at
crew-
each other and
Scream
trying
at
to
each
shit
other
down
and
each
then-
Right.
other.
This crew
then we
is
live
it's
together?
a good crew, but this crew can spend 6 days together. I
Well,
think.
no, we're literally
And then-
arguing about shit. It's like not that easy to like fucking do that, but you know, at the end of the day, it's all about golf, which is good.
Yeah.
Ecuador, Connecticut-based is the Inspirato White, grown tobacco, volcanic region, yields a ton of flavor, mellow in strength, but lots of flavor. So your guys is the white that you guys love is Connecticut-based. The orange, which I love, is European-based tobacco.
How about that?
It says that right here in the ad copy.
How about that?
You can enter to win a limited edition branded golf set and a humidor for your Macanudo Inspirato smokes at macanudo.com/barstool. 21 plus for entry. Again, go to macanudo.com/barstool. It's 21 plus for entry, and you can get your own set of golf clubs, your own humidor, and everybody's going to be happy. Macanudo's great. The orange, the white, they're both really good no matter where they're from.
I will be happy when the Ryder Cup's over. We don't have to talk about.
Well,
this.
it's gonna start for us, and that's gonna be fun. Just so because we're gonna be here.
I'm very excited to just experience the Ryder Cup. First
Same.
Ryder Cup. This is probably the most jacked up I've gotten for any sporting event actually being there, aside from like an Islanders fucking Eastern Conference Finals game. You know what I mean? Like for me, this is probably cooler for a fan aspect than it was going to Augusta. As nuts as that sounds, I'm ready for the rowdy crowd.
Right, like where we're sitting right now, in the grandstands on the first tee. The scene on Friday morning here is gonna be unmatched. It's gonna be like nothing we've ever experienced.
Everyone
before.
waking up early, like getting here when it's dark.
Yep.
Waiting online.
Singing.
Singing, running to the fucking grandstand, finding their seat, a comfortable seat at that. Excuse me.
These seats are
heartburn.
comfortable. Yeah,
They're
more comfortable than I thought they were
seats.
gonna be.
We're sitting in them. You're watching this on YouTube. We've been sitting in them for the last probably 2 hours, however long we've been doing this shit.
Bitching at each other.
Bitching at each other
You
about.
just blacked out for 2 hours as you
Just-
guys were
Remember when
arguing
Dylan
about.
was here? It feels like a long time.
I'm
ago.
shivering now because the sun went down.
It did.
I'm literally shaking like a child. But yeah, I'm excited for it. When I say I want it to be over, I meant like for podcast reasons. Like I don't know that we can talk about this anymore. I just want the results to happen. The winners are the winners. The losers are the losers. The people that are right, and the people that are wrong are wrong. That will just happen in a week. That's exciting to know that that's coming. But I do want to just take in the actual moment. I cannot wait to watch the first tee ball go in the air, the crowd go crazy. Here's a question. Do you think Justin Thomas is going to be a guy like Bubba where he gets the crowd going, or do you think he'll like bask in the silence?
I think there's a beauty to the deafening silence on this tee.
Speed said he closed his eyes and just swung, and it was lucky that he hit the ball
Win.
on his first
No
Ryder
way.
Cup tee shot. He goes, I just basically closed my eyes and hit the ball, and the fact that I went to the fairway is like the luckiest I've ever been on a golf course.
I prefer when they get the crowd going and they let them cheer through the.
They were doing that a lot at Solheim.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
it's so unique. You don't see stuff like that. But also the deafening silence is unique because you don't usually get a burst of cheering as the contact is hit. You know what I mean? When Tiger Woods tees off at Augusta National on hole number 1, there's that deafening silence. We're used to that. And then there's like a little bit of a roar after because everyone's Tiger Woods fans, but you're not getting World Series Game 7 type roars after a fucking tee shot in a golf tournament.
The other thing I remembered from 2018, I was watching the highlights the other night from 2018 in France, was like Tiger was on the tee, and every practice swing he took, the whole crowd went, whoa, whoa, whoa. So you're literally standing there trying to just take a practice
Didn't he hit
swing.
his first shot? Like, wasn't it just not a good first tee shot?
No,
Tiger?
I know the
Didn't
ones
go in the water, did it?
The ones that I watched, he piped
Okay.
a few, like 5 woods he was hitting off the tee, but like Ricky hit it in the water. It was a hard tee shot. There was like all these bunkers we're looking at right now. We're looking at the first hole at Whistling Straits. All these bunkers were basically water
Right.
on the left, and then it was a dogleg right. So like anybody who pulled it a little bit left, it just went in the water.
I thought I remembered like everyone getting jacked up, and he just like kind of pulled it. Maybe it just went in the rough. I also could be completely wrong, but yeah, no, I'm super excited. I'm jacked up for guys to take risks. I'm hearing there's a lot of risk reward holes out here with these drivable par 4s and spots they're gonna leave them in, and I'm excited to walk the course and see it. Trent and I are gonna kind of be in like the crowd. Rigsy Redcoat's got a fucking media pass.
It's nice.
You're gonna
And
be inside the ropes.
Pass, yeah.
You're gonna be inside the ropes. We're gonna be outside the ropes, but hopefully we'll find ourselves in some good positions where we can see some good golf.
I actually don't know if the red coat that I got gets me Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh,
I think it does, right?
just keep it.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe they change it to like yellow coats.
The
Friday.
crowds, I gotta tell you, the crowds were heavy out there.
Yeah, dude, we saw them
Right.
piling in. We were on the driving range, just saw them piling in all day. I mean, the merch tent. Shout out Peter Millar. They're over there. We saw Todd Martin today. The guy is.
The Silver Fox.
He's
I don't know if I've
awesome.
ever met anyone with such an aura that you just have to like laugh and love him as much as Todd Martin. Like, he just requires love and laughter. You see him, you want to hug him, you want to just like smack him a little bit, be like, "Whoa!" Like I
Make
was
me
hitting
laugh.
him.
Make
I was
me
like
laugh.
hitting him on like the back, and like, "How you been, bro?" He's like, "Good."
It is always
Just-
a pleasure to see him.
It's a pleasure.
And
It's-
we thought we were going to see him in the merch tent, and instead we ran into him. He was walking somewhere else, and we were walking towards the merch tent, and it was just a surprise, and it was a great surprise. Talked to him for about 10 minutes. Todd Martin's the best, and obviously so is Peter Millar, but it was good to see him.
yeah, he can't.
My brother's calling me. Kyle. I'm doing podcasts. I can call you right back. I know. Bye. He said hopefully you're not freezing on the podcast like last time. We just kept fucking
Freezing in a different way.
Yeah, no, the last
like
one was
literally
brutal.
frozen, which they did Game of Thrones. Todd Martin's the best guy ever.
The
Silver
best.
Fox got a silver head of hair, and he's always looks like $1 million. He's dressed in Peter Millar clearly, and he is a funny motherfucker.
He goes, "Wait until you see what we got going on for the Dad Bod Classic this year." I was like, "God, man." He goes, "Last year was rushed. This year's just infinitely."
And
times
last year
better."
was easily the greatest package of merch I've ever gotten.
Oh my god!
over
He's
the
like-
span of
he's
4
like, We're
days.
doing stuff. I was like, "Oh
It's
my
also
god!"
think about this. That's in 5 months.
I
Like
know.
what's at the top of his mind is like boys.
First thing he said.
Wait till you see what we're doing for the Dad Bod Classic.
We saw Todd Martin, who's at the top of Peter Millar at the Ryder Cup. He's got the best setup inside the Ryder Cup merch tent. And the first thing he said to us was about the Dad Bod Classic. That's just not real life.
That's what's on that guy's brain.
Yeah, not like, oh, like, do we have enough inventory here? I mean, the place is getting ramshackled. I mean, I've never seen so many people inside a fucking media tent, inside a merch tent in my entire life. And it's Wednesday. This thing doesn't start till Friday.
How many millions do you think they're going through in that thing?
Dude, I just don't know how they have the inventory. I was looking at that. Like, every shirt, every size is in stock. And I know it's only Wednesday, but still, the amount of people that were in there, you'd think that everyone would just clear it out. But instead, like, they're constantly filling it up. Dude, like the ops that go into this and a big tournament like this is really insane. By the way, this is called an event, right?
What do you mean?
Like, you don't call it like a tournament, you don't call it like a championship.
I
It's
will
like
say I have been calling it a tournament too much. I don't think you're supposed
it's
to.
an event.
It's like an exhibition and an
a
event.
match.
A match. Ryder Cup matches, everybody calls it.
But those are individual matches.
I
This is
guess,
almost
yeah.
like the tennis talk where it's like there's a match, a game, a set.
If you had asked me
Study
before, I
love.
would have said tournament.
It
And
can't
that's
be.
not right.
No,
The Ryder Cup
There's
there's
tournament.
literally
No.
nothing
Oh, yeah, no,
tournament
that's not
based
it.
about it.
Yeah, you're right. Tournament's not right.
It's just the Ryder Cup.
Speaking of
It's an
Ryder Cup
event.
and merch tent, how do you guys? I mean, we talked about it before. The Ryder Cup 2020 logo. It's not-
I bought a hat that has, and I think it says 2020. It does. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I bought a hoodie and I bought a beanie
It's
that I'm sure they
2021,
say
man.
2020
It's
on
not
them.
2020. And you know what else I bought? I went in there and I got a hat. It's in the beginning of the day when we were sitting around our breakfast table in the house. I looked at E-Bug who had bought a rope hat. Nice rope hat, you know, it's Whistling Straits. It's got the logo on it. And I said, man, something about rope hats make you look like a douchebag.
You
know,
did
it's
say
one of
that,
those
yeah.
morning things I said. But then I just went into the fucking merch tent and bought myself a rope hat. So like I only said it. I only said it to him because like I was really staring at it. I'm like, dude, there's just something about like why do we put this little piece of rope on the hat? But then you see it and you wear it. Like, it looks amazing on him.
It does. And that's what we said at the table, too, that, like, you and I aren't rope hat guys.
You have to be a rope hat guy.
Right, and they have facial
anyway.
hair. They have, like, a bigger head.
Yes.
And so it just works for them. But then, of course, classic Frankie Borelli just went in and bought a rope hat.
I've been so jealous. I've seen people wearing some of our rope hats that we sell. We sell, like, FOREPLAY rope hats and Barstool Golf ones. And, like, they just look...
You wear the less than Breaking 100
I
one.
wear the
That's a
Breaking
rope
100
hat.
one, yeah.
That's the only rope hat you wear.
And it's like...
Somebody asked me to describe Frankie Borelli to them. I would say, well, he woke up one morning. He looked at somebody wearing a rope hat and said, you know what? You look like a douchebag with a rope hat on. And then he went and bought 2 rope hats.
Right. And then smash cut to 9 hours later, and he's wearing a rope hat.
Yeah, I just, you know, it's whatever, you know, whatever the time calls for.
I will say that your rope is significantly
Thinner.
less
Yeah,
thick
his is
than
a thick rope.
There's something about
Brendan's.
it, you know. I got the white one, which is nice. The rope just outlines it. Rope hats are sick. You don't look like a douche.
I respect you swallowing your gum being like, no, I want that
Well,
rope
that's
hat.
why I said you should have just went back on your tweet.
Right, that's what we do on this podcast. We say one thing and we do the other.
That's a perfect example of
you
it.
put it in
Literally
writing,
called
it's
this guy a
different.
douchebag, and then I went and bought the same hat.
Yeah, it's just when you put it in writing, it's different.
Delete it. That would have been more fun deleting it and acting like it never happened. We're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
If I showed up here on Tuesday and
Yeah.
just deleted that tweet and was like,
It's some
Let's
guy
go,
had been
baby.
like, I saw it, and be like, pull it up. And he'd be like, oh no. That's what I would have done. I would have deleted it.
I would
I'll
have
be
been
honest, in hindsight, I wish I would have done that.
because you're fighting people so much about it.
Just
and
you
it-
two, really.
No, I know, but like you have to fight on behalf of Europe. I would have just loved to fight all the people that say I'm not allowed to root for the United States. It's like the same fight. It's just you get to now root for the United States. That's my point. It's like if people are gonna call you out and be like, no, well you tweeted this, I'll be like, well now I don't care anymore. I root for the United States.
But then the problem is, nothing you tweet is like,
No one
holds
cares
any,
about
like-
that shit, dude.
Nobody
gives a fuck.
Nobody
They forget.
cares. You think they're keeping
They forget.
receipts?
it's like the White Sox Dave with him like chaining himself to a statue. It's like then
But
you just
see, like, I
gotta
don't
do
even
it.
think about that anymore.
I don't know. I'll always think of him as that guy.
I'll
Said
think
he
of
was
it
gonna do
because
something.
John Feidelberg went and
Yeah,
did it
that's true.
and was like, this is so easy. I just walked right up here.
Remember,
And
wasn't
is
like the cop
insane.
bring him a coffee or
a
something?
cop drove by and he was like, look at me. They're just like, keep going. They don't care.
That's a great reference. I
Justin
forgot.
Thomas chirped me today.
Yeah, you
yeah.
had mentioned that.
So we were walking off 18 green, and there's like a big kind of walkway, staircase, path, trail, whatever, up this hill, and he was like right in front of me, and Risey walked by me. The Europeans were hitting their shots from the fairway into the green, and he goes, "Oh, you're gonna stick around and watch your guys?" And I was like, those are my guys or whatever. And then he was like, "How you doing, bro? How is everything?" I was like, "Good." I was like, "Your shoes are fire," which they are. You guys see JT shoes?
Yep, they
Yeah,
look
the
very
USA
cool.
shoes. And he was like, "These came out unreal, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then that was pretty much it. But his first thing that the maybe the top American here, one of the top Americans here, said to me was he chirped me about the European thing. So
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I think that does make sense. Sezzle. Sezzle is a buy now, pay later solution that allows you to get what you want today while paying for it over time in 4 interest-free payments over 6 weeks. So what you could do is you go to the Barstool Sports Store, shop now and pay later with Sezzle. This is great because a lot of times we get folks that are like, hey, I don't get my paycheck for another like week and a half. I really want that, but they're going to be sold out. Sezzle's your answer. Now available at the Barstool Sports Store. More than 34,000 exciting stores in the USA and Canada. There's no hidden fees, no credit check, if you guys are worried about that. If you pay on time with zero impact to your credit score, Sezzle's easy to use, offering instant approval decisions with no long forms to fill out. My hands are getting freezing, by the way.
I see it every time I go on the Barstool Sports Store. Every time we have a new shirt or a new hat or a new quarter zip, I always go on there. I'll get the link to share it with you guys, and then I always see Sezzle right there. It's a great tool to be able to use. I mean, like you're saying, like to be able to space out the payments. Sometimes these things do get expensive because it's the better quality. Like we talk about Pinot Noir, it's like buying a fucking Mercedes versus I don't know.
What car company do you want to shit on?
Yeah, pick one. Saturn.
Saturn.
Dude, how about
That's a
growing
safe
up?
one to shit on. I feel like.
Saturn.
The only reason I brought that up, growing up, I always would tell my
Terrible.
dad, be like, dude, I want to drive a Saturn. He'd be like, I think that's going to change.
Yeah, there's no
The
chance.
number one car that I wanted to drive when I was a kid was a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
All right.
Because Paul Walker drove one in the first Fast and the Furious.
Oh,
Here's
really?
a weird
Oh
thing.
yeah,
That
it's the
was
first
his
car
car?
that pulls up. It's that green car.
Yeah,
Here's a weird
Fire.
thing. I had the idea, and almost closer to Riggs. I used to get picked up from the older kids in like my town.
Picked up or picked on?
Picked probably both, but picked up
Hey.
by this kid that lived. That was nice. That lived around me, around the block, and he drove this fucking old ass like Nissan Altima. It was like beige with like beige interior, and like the car like had like a noisy motor, and I thought that was so cool. It almost sounded like a go kart. So I was like, man, I want that car. Like that was my like aspirations, is to like look like the senior that had a car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I didn't want like some nice car that was quiet. You know what I mean? Like some fucking
Yeah, totally.
like I don't know. I ended up having my parents like hand me down car, and it was a nice one. It was Mazda Tribute, but it was just like I don't know. I was like, this car's not.
We
it
had a
was
tribute.
nice.
We had a tribute.
Yeah, the Mazda- it
we
was
used
a
to make
nice
fun of it
car.
all the time with my dad's.
Yeah, the
he bought it and
Tribute.
hated it.
Yeah, I
He's
had a
like, this
Tribute.
thing sucks.
dude, and like
It was a nice car.
I just thought I'd rather have the shitty one because it looked cooler. He was like low to the ground,
Yeah,
like the
making a lot of
interior.
noise.
The interior just seemed cool.
Dude, my dad bought Tribute, you know, because he's outdoorsman. He's like, it's kind of a little SUV thing. It'll be great. And then he tried to give it to my brother because he's like, yeah, like I feel like you're graduate. You know, you should have this car. Like, it's great. My brother was like, yeah, I'll take it. Awesome. But then after a few years, he too was
hated
like,
it.
this car kind of sucks.
Yeah, dude, I had the Tribute for a lot of years.
The Tribute. Barstool Sports Store and shop now, pay later with Sezzle. The other thing I wanted to be growing up was a trash man because
Oh yeah.
they would stand on the back while they
Really
drive
cool.
between, and they would just jump out, sling those things in there, and then just hop on the side. And I was like, that looks like it's like a ride almost.
It's the best. You see some of these fucking new age
Garbage truck.
garbage trucks where I've seen them in Colorado before, where they drive down the street and this like claw comes out, picks
Yeah,
the
they're
fucking
unreal.
garbage up, throws it in, and then goes on its way. It's horrifying.
Yeah, that's
technology.
like Big Brother could just snatch up like
Yeah.
a small
Also
child.
took fucking 2 jobs away from guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
You
true.
know?
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
I don't
I
like it.
as much.
I don't know what else I wanted to be when I grew up. I used to have my sister like flash the lights in my basement. We used to have like sport court tile in the basement so I could like skate around like rollerblade.
Oh,
And she
yeah.
used to flash the lights, and I used to come out to the Islanders intro, and I used to do it. Now entering the Coliseum, number 29. I'm just going. I'm like 7 years old.
Yeah.
I'm crazy. And she and I'd skate around a little circle. And then I'd go to the face-off dot, and then they'd like go upstairs and like call a therapist.
That's a good sister.
Yeah.
I
She also dropped me on my head. She tried to do a Backstreet Boys dance. I think the Backstreet Boys are in sync. There's one music video, it's a famous one,
Backstreet
where they
Boys
actually
are back.
do a split,
and then you
they
step
grab-
over it
you
and
step
they
over the
flip.
guy. He grabs him between his legs, flips him forward through his legs, and then the guy's supposed to land. She tried that on me when I was 4, and I landed on my head.
I'm 98% sure that was in sync.
In sync, all right. But that's also the reason why I am who I am.
Yeah, like I used to.
Drop me on my head like that when I'm 4. It's damage.
Kids do that though. Like in the backyard, we had the like cement back there with a hoop, and I would pretend that I was Michael Jordan making a like.
Last
I'd count
second.
down like 5,
Yep.
4,
Fade
and he'd
away.
always have the fadeaway jumper, and I would just turn around and shoot. And I would,
yeah.
if I missed, I would just ignore that it happened.
Yep.
And if I made it, I'd be like, I'm Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Dude, one time my brother and sister duct taped me to a chair and put me in the basement. When my parents left, they went out to dinner or something. Brother and sister are 4 and 5 years older than me, respectively.
Shit.
So, I'm like, fuck, let's say I'm 8 or something, and they're like 12 and 13. Dude, they fucking put me in the basement,
Terrorism.
unfinished basement.
Yeah.
And we had like just a basement window, so you could see outside. And it was like a lightning out night.
Oh my god.
They duct taped me to a chair in the basement. I fucking got so I was screaming.
This explains a lot right now.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Just
And
looking at a
dude.
horror show, like, I mean, that's terrorism.
So, I was so rattled. I rocked the chair, fell back, hit my head on the concrete floor, and
Holy
split my
shit.
head open.
Holy fuck.
So-
Holy shit, dude.
Dude, then the screaming really changed. They came down, and they were like, "Oh fuck!"
yeah.
So
Dude,
then
they're
they
probably
like,
rattled.
totally. They're like, "Oh my god!" Because when you split your head open, like a tiny little cut, like bleeds like a motherfucker.
Sure.
There's like
Hemorrhaging.
blood everywhere. They're like, "Oh my god!" Ended up being totally fine.
But yeah,
and then
dude.
they at that point they like begged me to like not say anything to mom and dad.
Yeah.
luckily, it could have just threatened me. It could have been like, we're going to do this again if you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
But
We
I
got more
think,
duct tape.
and again, I was really young, but I think I was like, all right, guys, just let's all be friends.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
that'd be cool if we
Yeah.
could all be buddies.
That was the smart way to do it.
think
Was
that
to
was-
not rat.
totally. I was
Trent
like,
got dressed up like a female.
I did. My sisters just dressed me up as a girl.
by the way, I
That's the
think I
best,
did
dude.
too.
I know. I think you
Yeah,
said
Yeah.
I
that.
told you guys.
I
confidence.
provided photo evidence and showed it to the internet.
Dude,
What can you do?
That, I don't know if I've ever laughed that hard on that podcast.
Yeah, I remember we cut up a
think I
promo clip of
puked.
just us laughing about it, and we laughed for like 50 seconds.
I think I puked.
Just because it was so out of nowhere. Because we're talking about.
Can we put in that clip of when he talks to us?
You just said it out of nowhere.
Well, I think we were
I don't
talking
even know if we
about.
could find that.
I think it was similar topic that we're talking about right now, like how we were picked on, or our older siblings did things like duct tape them to a chair, and I was just like, yeah, they used to dress me up as a girl, which is true. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that. My sisters used to dress me up as a girl.
Like how dressed up are we talking? Makeup? Makeup?
you wore lipstick and like eyeshadow.
Were you not gonna bring that up?
I didn't know how deep we were going. I didn't know. All right, but I figured if we're all sharing, this is kind of a nice moment for the show. I figured I'd really take it. So,
What happened? Were you wearing any skirts?
oh yeah, I'd be wearing a dress. Yeah.
What?
Trent comes. How old are you? Trent comes walking out of the room. He's just in a dress, just like, all right. Am I beautiful?
Dude, then I would do the move with my brother because we play video games in the basement, and if he'd always beat me because he's fucking older than I was and better at it, and then I would just if he was being mean or something, I would just go, "Ow, mom!"
Oh, that's
Dude,
classic.
she would come down and be like, "Kyle,
Yeah.
what are you doing?" And he would be like, "I didn't do anything," and I'd be like, "Ah!" And then
My arm's
he
broken.
just had no chance. He'd be like,
My
"You're
sister
so fucking
once
dead."
turned the channel on me. Like she just changed the channel. I threw a pen and it hit her in the eyeball, and she almost lost her vision. I was rattled. I was just like, "Fucking take this!" and it just tossed a weapon at her, and it
think
just hit her
about-
eyeball, and she was like, "Mom!"
No offense
breathe.
to people who are an only child, but like having siblings is one of the weirder experiences you have as a person.
Yeah,
Because
My-
it's people that you grow up in a house with, you spend all your time together, and weird shit happens.
You hate them,
My
you love
siblings are a
them,
little
Right.
older,
crazy.
so I'm super tight with them, but there's 10-year gap between me and my oldest sister, so I didn't have as much young interactions with her as much as they did. But my other sister, where I think we're only 5 or 6 years apart, but yeah, it is weird that like you're watching them grow up, and then like you're seeing things that they're doing, and then like you're then doing it. Like it's very weird to be like in different parts of your life, all living in the same
Yes.
house.
Right, like I
Definitely.
remember when I
You're
was
like
young,
roommates, but you're 5 years apart.
So
Yeah.
my older brother and sister are 5 or 6 years older than I am, and they would start to throw parties in high school,
Mhm.
and I'd be like, "This is wrong.
Yeah,
What's going on right now? They're underage and they're drinking. And that's what's happening right now. I'm not going to tell anybody, but I know that this is wrong." Smash cut to 6 years later, doing the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Dude, I remember I was in the same boat.
And then they probably yelled at you like you shouldn't be doing this.
Right, they're
And you're
like,
I
"Come
fucking
on."
watched you do this.
Right.
Yeah, I remember because like my brothers, friends would be who I'm like very good friends with now, but they'd get like fucked up, at
Yeah.
these parties and like come hang out with me, and I'd be like, "What the hell is wrong with you people?
Right, they changed.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, why are you different than you were 3 hours ago?
Just
He's
talk
like,
normal to
he
me."
was like, what? What? Yeah, it was.
What?
It is strange.
I will say I think also not having you guys have brothers, so not having a brother definitely scoped me out to be who I'm. There's a reason why I am, and it's definitely because I didn't have a brother that would just like beat the shit out of me when I was a little brat or like an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had like
Definitely.
sisters that just like thought I was the best thing in the world. So it's like I walked
Right,
around.
you're God's gift to the
God's
earth.
gift to the earth. The third Frankie Borelli. Like they literally
This guy's going to
weren't.
take over the
They
restaurant.
weren't. Yeah, I was supposed to. They didn't. They weren't going to have another kid. I don't
What?
think. That's why there's such a gap.
You were a mistake.
Wait, say
no,
again?
they weren't gonna have another child. I don't think, or maybe they were, but they
Oh, you
waited
were
a
a
little bit.
mistake.
No, I was the opposite. My grandfather,
Yeah,
Frank Borelli
sure.
Sr., like demanded that they continuously try and have kids until he gets a third. He wanted like the name to keep going on because there was
Yeah.
no other Borelli boy. His other 2 daughters they married, so like my dad's the only Borelli.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he had to have another Borelli. Like I have to have. My dad will stand over me and force me to have 1,000 children. I think, right? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think it'll end. If I just keep popping out girls, I don't know when it
You
ends.
just be like, again.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Miracle. Again.
Yep. Roman swipes. Just
Again.
keep going. Just,
No Roman swipe.
No.
true,
Dude.
true.
You want the opposite
Dude,
of that.
he's going to take
True,
that
true,
thing off
true,
himself.
true,
Keep going, kid.
My point is that I'm pretty sure that that's what happened. Like they say, dude, like they didn't know what my sisters were gonna be. They just got surprised.
Sure.
And like when they went like 3 months into the pregnancy with me, they all had like a massive party at the doctor to make sure it was a boy. When it was a boy, my grandfather looked at my parents were like, okay, you're good.
All right,
There
everything's
we go.
fine.
And then my little shit came out.
Dude, when I was being a brat and my brother and sister wanted to be really mean to me again, they would be like, they would always do the accident thing. They'd be like, yeah, you know, like mom and dad didn't want you, right?
Yeah,
like
that's
you're an
a
accident.
classic.
Oh
And
my
I'd be
God.
like, yeah, and everybody would be like, don't you think it's weird that like we're both 1 year apart and you're 4 years later?
Dude,
I'd be like,
dude, I got so much of that because obviously mine was harder to disprove because I was on the front page of the paper as
True,
a
true.
gigantic baby. They would
I just pulled that up.
big baby.
I just pulled that up at dinner 2 nights ago. I pulled up that picture.
Yeah.
I Googled it. I just wrote Trent big baby picture. And it's
Comes
right there
right
on
up.
Google.
the only one that I know of.
Showed
Is
it
that what
to-
it says? Big baby? Exclamation
big
point?
baby.
Big
Yeah.
baby. I showed it to my girlfriend's family. They couldn't believe it.
Nobody believes it.
We had to do research to like see like it was like a C-section or natural birth. Like we couldn't believe it.
It
You know
was,
what I mean?
it was a
It's
C-section.
right there on the newspaper.
Yeah,
It's like right
yeah.
there.
That's. I'll
Big
tell you
baby.
what. Newspapers have changed a lot
It's there.
because they give you. Back then, they would give you a lot of information.
Yeah.
They gave out the home address of my parents.
Is it on the
They're-
newspaper?
No way.
That's the one that
Um,
you've tweeted out.
It is on that one. They don't live there anymore, so it doesn't
Okay,
matter or
good,
anything. But
good.
yeah, it
Bunch
says
of
like
Trent fans showing up at the former
that'd be
house.
great.
man,
But
what
it
the
says like
fuck?
these two live at blah 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 blah.
The reason why I said that we had to look that up because we were like, imagine a 14-pound baby going through the pelvis. Like, I don't know if that's
come
possible.
on, Come on.
Come
I
on.
don't know if that's. I know.
Come on,
I
you
know. I
and
gotta
my
show-
mom are good
I gotta
friends
show
now.
some respect.
That's
yeah, what
kinda,
happened?
Yeah, messed up.
What do you mean?
yeah.
What happened recently? She
Oh.
texted you?
Yeah, we were texting back and forth after I left Cedar Rapids, and she was just like, "Have a great week, and also tell Frankie Borelli hi."
This
from
is
me."
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Dude.
and the sickos on the internet are saying like, "Oh, he's your mom's
your
got a crush on
papa.
Frankie." It's not that. She
Watch
thinks
out.
of you as another son.
Watch out, Gary.
No, come
Yeah,
on.
watch.
This is not what I want. Joy thinks of you
Joy
as
to
another
the world
son.
is what I say.
This I don't like.
This is getting.
This I don't like at all.
This got. Let's
We're
go.
gonna
to,
go there maybe.
Should we do an ad read?
Yeah, and then we could talk about that.
Would you like us to do an ad read, Trent?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're still on. I want people to realize that you've been listening to this. I'm sure you've heard the wind a little bit. Maybe not. Just ever so often. I see. We're just still at the fucking grandstand at Whistling Straits Ryder Cup, just sitting here by
We are now
ourselves.
officially, those people even right up there at the top right, we are
We
now
got one guy
officially
sitting here. What are you doing over
the
here?
only. Who? Oh,
Where are
He's
you
hanging
at?
out.
you guys got a Wisconsin hoodie on.
What's up, dude? What's
How
up?
you doing?
We just got one stoolie just sitting here listening to the
Yeah.
whole show. She's getting a free.
saw him
she's
giggling
getting a
over
free
there.
show.
It's a live show.
What's your name? Come
Alex.
over here, Alex. Before you do this ad
Yeah,
read.
we got an extra mic for you, Alex.
Is this thing on, Jake?
All right, we got Alex, who's been sitting here listening to us do this show. He's been like just staring at
Got
the.
Wisconsin
he's
hoodie
just-
on, so you
No,
gotta be a
it's
local
okay.
guy.
You got John Deere sponsored hat on. Oh, East Lake.
Yeah,
You look like you work in the golf
Hey,
industry.
Talk
talk
to
into
that
that
mic.
thing. Put that right up on your
sorry.
face. No, you're good.
Let me
Yeah.
guess. Let me guess you. You work on a turf team at a golf course.
bingo was his name.
Fucking right, dude. He looks like it. You know.
Yeah.
You just look like
How
a
good
turf
do you
guy.
feel you
I
nailed
feel
that?
unbelievable.
Oh,
Got the
man.
beard,
Yeah.
fancy pants,
Yeah.
Oh,
bought
yeah.
a hoodie.
You throw a lot
Plus,
of that. You
your-
cake on
dude,
sunscreen
your
when
hats-
you're out there on the busy days.
Dude, also your
Yeah,
hat's
my
got
ginger ass needs
Yeah.
it constant.
John Deere, but it's also got a little bit of dirt all
That's
and
how I
like
knew.
sweat all
Yeah.
over
The
it.
sweat is how I
Yeah,
knew because
yeah.
he's a
I
hardworking
mean,
man.
had to get the red, white, and blue going.
Totally. No, you're a hardworking man. I
It's the
totally
only-
appreciate
So
that.
where are you from originally?
So I'm from a little town. I always tell people if this is Wisconsin, I'm from right here,
Right in the heart.
middle of it.
right in the heart of it.
He just put his palm up, and it's right in the middle of
Yeah.
his palm.
right.
So
Right.
so all this like farmland we've been driving through, is it kind of like where you're from?
Yeah.
Just a lot of nothing.
Yeah, if you like,
Don't let him talk to you like that.
What? I mean,
It is amazing.
It's not nothing out there. That's feeding this
Comparable.
country.
It's feeding the world.
we had a good conversation
is
about that
true.
driving in.
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
did.
like, these people are living the same lives that people lived 200 years ago.
These people.
You people. These people.
These people
All right.
are
What was your name
nothing.
again? Because I'm so bad at remembering names.
I'm
you know when
Alex.
someone tells you your name,
Alex.
you just don't listen to it.
His
All the
name's
time,
Alex.
100 times a day.
Alex. What are you doing here? Just here to watch the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, here to watch the Ryder Cup. I get in free every day through the GCSAA and the WSGA. So I'm living in Milwaukee now, working at a country club.
GC golf course
Superintendents
Association
of
Is that
America.
right? Of
GCSAA.
America.
You know, I actually had
Holy
a phone
God, it's a
call
lot of
with
letters.
It's
the,
a lot of letters.
What's
I had
his
a
name?
phone
What's his name?
call. I don't remember. I was just going to ask you. I had a phone call with like the
Alex.
president of the GCSA.
Yeah, it changes every year.
Oh, they do every year?
Yeah, every year it's a
Oh.
different superintendent.
What's your job? What do you actually like?
So I'm an assistant superintendent.
Okay.
Okay.
Unreal. Do you watch
Is there a
the
CEO of the GCSA?
I think it was
He's
enough
got some
letters.
crazy name.
Yes. God, I can't even remember his name right now.
Whatever. This guy goes like I remember we were supposed to have a phone call
You
about
look him up?
possibly doing. We were supposed to do a behind the greens with the GCSA. I was like trying to get them involved, and he
Yeah.
was like, "I'm going to hike like Mount Kilimanjaro. I'll be back in 3 months." I was like,
That's not going to work.
Rhett Evans.
Rhett.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Rhett, what a
Which
name.
is a name that
Yeah.
people think that we should call Garrett, who has the worst name of all time.
Rhett.
I don't know if that's much
Rhett.
better.
It sounds like a fucking
Garrett.
frog. But dude, Rhett was a very nice
Gross.
man.
Great guy. Shitty name.
I hope
Garrett.
that everything went well with his excursions. All right, so you're out here. You're from the heart of Wisconsin.
Right in the middle of his palm.
Right in the middle of your palm. You're here to watch the Ryder Cup. Have
Yeah.
you ever been to an event like this ever? Is your first experience?
So I worked at Erin Hills on the grounds crew for the U.S. Open.
Oh, unreal.
Yeah.
We love that place.
I worked with Hanky Panky, actually.
Yeah.
He
He's
was
our guy.
volunteering.
Hanky's shout out to
Yeah.
Hanky Panky, one of our
Shout
favorites. You
out
ever
to
go to
Hanky
Erin Hills,
Panky.
request Hanky Panky on the bag.
He's a good guy.
He's awesome.
So what's your history with golf course maintenance? Like, how is this your life? Like, why that?
I started off working at the local country club when I was 16, and I just liked being outside.
Yeah.
My worst nightmare is working a cubicle,
Preach.
9 to 5 job. So I started working there, really liked it. Then I moved over to Sand Valley. I was on the build crew there.
Holy shit.
Build
that-
crew.
Yeah,
We built the golf course.
Mammoth Dunes, yeah.
Unreal
No
with
way.
Dave McClay
Yep.
Kid.
Sculpting, like digging out fucking bunkers and
Yep.
shit.
Shaping.
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 A lot of hydro
That's a talent.
seeding.
Hydro seeding.
Whoa.
Look
Yeah.
at this.
Hydro seat. What the hell is that?
So basically, it's a big tank with this like cotton fiber that you put into it with a bunch of water, and that
Okay.
acts like the like you ever see newly seeded grass with hay over it
Yep.
to keep the moisture in.
Mhm.
It does that, but it like sprays it out and it cakes it on.
I love that
Wow.
you explained that to us like we were 5. That was
That's what
really,
we need.
really informative. That was huge.
That was
Hey,
informative.
most things I need explained to me like I'm
Right.
5, so that's just how I explain it
Right.
to other
Frankie, what's his
people.
name?
Alex.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Love
job.
that.
Good thing it's easy to remember.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's right there in the top of the alphabet.
Dude, that's amazing. You ever have any accidents?
Accidents?
Yeah.
You ever
with,
drive
like,
something into like a lake, or you ever do
bunker
anything
or-
stupid?
Honestly, the only accident I ever had, it was actually in the winter. Snow removal. I was in a Bobcat and I had a brush on the front, and I just smoked a pillar on the side of our clubhouse. I got a little bit too close.
That's what we were
Knocked a
looking for.
shitload of bricks off, but no, I've seen guys drive mowers into ponds.
Dude, I used to work valet. I just backed a car into a parked car one time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right into it.
Oh,
You
It's
ever
just-
watched that series on Amazon, Red Oaks?
No.
oh.
It's like about country club life.
Really?
Yeah, but it's set back in the 80s, and like opening scene, it's a bunch of valets smoking weed at a country club, and it's like, oh my god, I know those stoners.
Unreal.
I've never heard of that.
No, we'll have
It's
to
like a
watch that.
Caddyshack series
Yeah.
almost.
It came out a couple years ago, and I actually found it this past summer, and I was like, oh,
All right, this is a
pretty
good little recommendation from Alex.
Yeah.
Dude, I finally watched the Marty Fish documentary. It's spectacular.
I gotta. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I've actually watched a little bit of the beginning of
Dude,
it, and
it's
you
very-
can tell it's gonna be really good. And my buddy watch it. You said it's a phenomenal
It's
documentary.
very
You texted me the other day.
inspirational.
Yeah, that's
I
what
would
I've heard.
say, which I didn't expect.
All he's overcome.
Oh,
shit.
how much he's overcome. He like totally basically like reshaped his entire life, and then like suffered mental health, and then has overcome that, but talks about how he still fights it every day, and he's just the man. Like
That's
he's
insane.
awesome. Really good.
So you look at a course like Whistling Straits, like I mean, as a turf guy and a guy who works in a golf course, like what are you seeing from the course right now? Like, are you excited for this Ryder Cup? Do you think it's going to show its teeth, as the people in the golf industry like to say?
Show its teeth.
And especially with the weather outlook for this week, it's not going to rain. It's going to be windy. It's going to help the course really dry down, and they're going to get everything dialed in.
Fuck yeah.
You guys
Just the
hate
way they
rain,
want.
huh?
What?
You hate rain?
Depends. If it's a normal week, I love rain because, especially if it's paired with lightning, I work maybe 5 hours that day as opposed to 16.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But, like,
It's paired with
especially
light-
preparing
the
for
lightning's
tournaments.
awesome.
Oh,
It's a snow day
lightning's
for
the
you?
best. It's like, boom, there we go. OSHA says I get 30 minutes indoors at least.
That's awesome.
It is such a
No,
grind. Your
it's
guys-
just like that little bit of drizzle that's constant through a day. That's what sucks.
Your guys' industry is insane, man. It's an absolute grind. Like you're never not working, and it just seems like it's endless. It's an endless,
There's always another project.
thankless job. You're just constantly fucking working on golf courses.
Alex, don't go anywhere. Whoop.com. I'm going to check my Whoop status right now, actually.
Oh, me too.
God, mine died.
Mine was almost
much
dying the
traveling.
other day, and it's just been getting beat. But I will say that I was at a like record strain with my Whoop. My brother and them texted me the other day. I was at like 20.6.
Oh my
It
god.
might have been when we were at Bandon. 'Cause
Probably.
we were doing so much work.
Yeah, I hit like a 16.5 at Bandon, which I thought was pretty high for me.
I'm an
That is
81% today. I got 7 hours and 57 minutes of sleep last night.
I noticed
I was
Trent
about the
checks his
same.
Whoop so much that it's like unbelievable.
What do you mean?
You just like are always on the app. Like every time I look over your shoulder and try and read your text messages, you're always on Whoop.
Well, what is going on is I always keep it open. So
That's what I've noticed.
I
So
never
every
close
time
it
I look
down.
at your phone to see who you're texting, it's crazy how I always see that Whoop thing.
because when we first got it, they said the way to keep it up to date with what's going on,
Never
you
kill
always
it.
leave it open. So
You
it's
don't kill
it's
it.
the app that is always open. So yeah, I mean I love my Whoop and I really do use it every single day. I track my strain. I'm addicted to tracking my sleep.
Check your heart rate a lot. Is that something you're
probably
constantly-
scares you, so you don't.
What was I?
Big baby.
What was I nervous about earlier today?
When Bryson was walking over.
Yes.
I noticed it.
Yes.
I was looking to see who you're texting, and I ended up
Such a creep.
looking at your
I
phone.
can't talk shit about Frankie in my text, I guess. We'll see him.
I saw him. So Bryson walked over to us and threw a. He hasn't talked to us, by the way. I think it's officially over. I think
He
it's safe to
hates
say
us.
he hates us, and like his team hates us. They all looked at us with disgust. I mean, it's impossible to ignore us where we were standing behind him.
And he did.
On the driving range, and he did. He looked me in the eye and kind of just looked down. Like it was like he wanted to physically stop the vision in between us, and then walks over to us, throws up, which is a very nice move. I called it an all-time good guy move. He tossed
Were you trying to cater to him a
a
little bit?
little bit,
there?
yeah. I filmed this interaction. I saw it happening. A
Filmed
little
through
kid
a glove,
screaming,
yeah.
Bryson. He ignored him the whole time while he hit bombs, and then
Papa.
walked over and threw him 2 signed gloves, him and the kid next to him. So I thought that was a great move. But that moment, he walked over to us, and there was like that thought that maybe Bryson is going to say something. And Trent was standing there. It didn't happen. He didn't fucking say anything to us. But I looked over at Trent to say, like, holy shit, what a moment. And Trent's on his Whoop app, looking at his heart rate.
I felt myself get nervous.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I'm at this level of nervousness that I'm at right now, I want to know what my heart
What
rate's
was
at.
it?
88.
Whoa.
It's not bad.
Yeah, because I was surprised by it too. I thought it was going to be
Maybe it
in the
didn't
triple
like,
digits.
Right, maybe
No,
didn't
it was
sync
definitely
yet.
going, but I could just feel like it was beating faster than usual. Because I not only did I think Bryson might say something, I thought he might say like,
Like, fuck you guys.
it's over, guys.
Yeah.
Like we're never
What are you
talking
guys doing
again.
here?
Right. So I thought it could get contentious like that. Instead, he looked right through us like we were plate of
He
glass.
did DM that to me. He's DM'd that to me in the last few months.
Right,
It's
so-
over.
And Frankie's right. It's over. Like it's
Oh,
over.
it's over. Today was bad. It's over.
But if you want to check your Whoop like me when you get nervous and see what your heart rate is at, get yourself one.
What a
Whoop.com.
cool little tool.
It is cool. I like tracking
Cool
that.
little tool. Whoop.com, WHOOP.com, code 415 FORE15, and you get 15% off. So go to Whoop.com, get situated, get set up, get Whoop, get your account, and you can check all your info like that. And if Bryson hates you too, you can check your heart rate when he walks by at whoop.com, code 415 FORE15.
We're getting a sunset over lake. Oh fuck, this is gonna be lake. Don't say it.
All right.
All right, so
There's 5 of them.
so it's Lake Michigan.
Hey, there it is.
There we go.
That was a pretty good hint, if we're gonna be honest. You just gave him like the name.
he needs
I
it.
would have maybe said Lake Erie,
Okay.
which I think is in.
Where is it?
That's where Cleveland's at.
Okay.
That's the mistake on the lake.
Alex is helping you.
He
Alex
is.
knows.
I
Did you say
know.
the mistake on the lake? Cleveland?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, the mistake on the lake. Fuck, man. Just got
Oh.
murdered.
You guys just said, who
Cleveland
hates
just got
Cleveland?
absolutely
You guys hate
fucking
Cleveland?
destroyed.
No, I just have to have Cleveland be the shitty city on the lake
that
up north
you-
so that Milwaukee
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
at least a little
fair.
better.
Makes sense.
We flew
The
into
Bu- the
Milwaukee.
Bucks,
I
you know?
didn't notice much
Hey,
about
Bucks
Milwaukee.
and 6, baby.
Bucks and 6.
I think I threw a lime scooter in the Milwaukee River that night.
Love
Somebody,
that.
you know, somebody might come after you now that you just said that.
You know what, though?
No.
Fuck that
You
lime
didn't get
scooter.
my last name.
That's fair.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't.
How many Alexes?
There's a
are
ton,
there?
Parody
Parody
law. Yeah,
there's a
that's
ton of Alexes in the world.
No, yeah, a ton of Alexes that work at the fucking golf courses that live in the heart of fucking,
Shit.
you know.
That's all right. He'll be fine.
Damn.
I think you're okay.
If they can track me down, they deserve to get my. What's one of those costs? Like $200?
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
fine.
fine.
All right.
You'll be all right.
What else? We got anything else? Because I'm starting to fucking freeze up here.
Yeah, it's cold out here.
I'm excited to eat dinner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a beer. Beers, you know.
What
Yeah.
are we?
Have some
Yeah,
Spy
beer.
We're gonna be
Cows,
such good
some
friends
cheese
now.
curds.
Beers.
We might go win the Ryder Cup.
Who
What
knows?
are we doing? Are we planning on doing what we were thinking about doing, or is that out of the picture?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That feels like it's out of. That feels like it's out of the picture.
It's an hour.
From here, it's like, 45 minutes out.
I think we still try and do it, boys.
We'll talk about it.
So what I'm talking about, and I'm going to publicly say it, so now we have to probably do it, is
We know we're not. We don't have to.
we don't
If you
have
publicly
to.
say something, you don't have to.
There you go.
Hey.
See, you're getting it.
Wow, what a
Hey.
teed up,
if
baby.
you got a chance to do it, go see
Bro,
Lambeau.
they're saying that we can go to Lambeau tonight and walk through the tunnel and go on the field. Like, to me, that
Aw,
seems
shit,
like an
can I come
absolute
with you?
fucking no-brainer. So we had to sign this thing. Only like 3 of us could go on. Our other guys just couldn't even make it. So it's like, I think we got to go.
You gotta go.
It's an all-time sports moment.
No, I agree. It's we'll
But
have
you're
to.
hungry.
You fucking.
You hungry?
dude.
Why are you gonna make it
I'm
like a
telling
child?
you,
Like
Trent,
adults are
just
hungry.
stop at a Culver's on the way up there.
Stop at
and
a
get
what?
Culver's.
Culver's.
Oh, is that
Culver's is good. That's
Culver's
Big
is
Jeff
really
Low. I text him a picture every time I
Oh,
go
it's
there.
fast
He
food
loves
like
Culver's.
burgers.
Yeah.
It's good.
Really good ice
Milkshakes?
cream. Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Holy
French
smokes,
fries.
boys.
We should take you to a Culver's.
I think we go to Lambeau and we go to Culver's.
Okay. I'm not opposed
That's
to that.
Wisconsin night for you.
Is it? And maybe we finish it off with a spotted cow.
Either
Maybe
that
find some
or,
cheese
Did
curds.
you do that just so I would go? You threw the beer in there?
Yeah.
If you want a really good burger that's close to Lambeau, go to Kroll's East or West. One of the Krolls. It's right across the street from Lambeau.
Okay.
And they have amazing
It is true.
burgers.
I just said probably his dream, walking on Lambeau through the tunnel.
Yeah,
It's
he was like,
I mean,
he wants
is
to go.
every in the palm of Wisconsin person dreams of Lambeau Field, and we're acting like we may not go. We have to go
You gotta
for
go.
Alex.
For Alex.
Alex
Do it for
is-
me, Frank.
I will. I will walk through that. I will walk through that tunnel, and I will go on that field.
Let's get out of here. It's
Let's
freezing.
get out of here. It's freezing. Are we done?
It's cold. Yeah, I don't got anything else.
It's a Ryder Cup. People. I mean, what day is it today?
Today's
Wednesday.
Thursday.
Also, people will not hear us until after one of us is correct or not correct, or who knows
right.
what happens. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
Next show probably we'll just do. I
Sunday
imagine we'll do an
night.
emergency show Sunday
We'll do
night.
it, yeah.
Send it
So,
out.
yeah.
Put it
just
out.
put it out and
Send it
be
out.
on
It
our
sounded
way.
like I was
So
7
let's
years
go,
old.
Team USA. Trent,
Yeah.
let's go, baby.
Yep.
We're going to be here on Friday morning. This place is going to be fucking crazy. I can't wait for it. Riggs is going to be boo-hooing himself down the fairway, rooting for Europe with fucking Lee Westwood. Yuck. Yuck.
I like Lee Westwood.
It's gonna be fun.
Golly.
We don't. Not this week. We don't.
Be the more guy.
Oh,
Hit it hard.
hit it
Hit
hard.
hard. Thanks,
hard.
Alex.